She's a we'll see.
Oh, that's funny.
What am I do?
Well, we're live.
We're
Yeah.
live, Mr. Rivera.
Oh no, we good. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Elite Podcast. We apologize for starting off like this, but behind the scenes it was a big debate, a quick little debate. But I hope everybody doing well. How the beautiful ladies we have out right now. How are you guys doing?
I'm well, hanging in there. Carrie Ann, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Karen. Can't complain. It's
Nice,
good to
happy
finally be on the
Wednesday.
show with you.
I
Happy
know, I
Wednesday.
know. Yeah, finally on together at the same time. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, K and K gonna hold it down today for y'all.
There you
Yeah,
go.
true that. True
How
that
you doing,
indeed.
Mumba?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. I'm excited for this recap. I thought it was a pretty good month. Honestly, I thought it was a fun month. You know, it was great. So I'm, interested to, have some conversations. Probably, we get into some discussions pertaining to surrounding Women's Month and topics and that relates to women and stuff. So definitely. Big up, Carrie. Big up, big bro. Big up. We gotta get you on the podcast coming up during the Street Legends Month. Street Legends Month.
When is that?
Big up,
Hey,
Chris.
hey,
Big up, big up.
Chris.
What's up, Chris?
So yeah. So what's going on? You guys like super quiet today, like nervous or something?
No,
We good.
we good.
Waiting for the host to take charge and to lead.
All right, so
Exactly.
I'm gonna go ahead and do the announcements because my host them today for some reason since they aren't together is like they're totally like shy and like quiet. I don't know what's going on, but good
Now
night
we
to
were trying to
everybody.
finish this debate. That's what we were trying to do.
Exactly. You know what I
Anyway,
mean? Plus, we
That-
don't want him to say we're long-winded like some other people, that he usually have on hosted with him. So we try to keep our answers short and to the point. You know what I mean?
I respect that. I agree. I respect that. So
Oh,
appreciate
that's
everybody
funny.
tuning in. Appreciate everybody. Oh, the link is going to be public just in case anybody wants to come on. Anybody wants to pop in, have a discussion with us whatsoever pertaining to Women's Month. Any type, whatever the case may be. If you saw something in the news or whatever, I actually want to have a discussion with you guys on something I saw in the news. This is a crazy story that happened in Miami. Crazy story. But we get to that. But what was I supposed to do?
Make your announcements, sir.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
it was something
And
else I was
share the
supposed to
link.
say, though.
The link.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Share the link. So the link will be public. So anybody want to come on, more than welcome. This is just showing love to the viewers and stuff like that. Nobody's forced to come on. Nobody don't have to come on, but anybody want to, you're more than welcome to come on. So let me go ahead and get these quick shout outs out of the way. So we got legendstreet40.com. Check out the website. We got Savory Eats LLC based in Orlando. Sheena Fontaine. She has a food sale coming up this Friday, Good Friday. So if you guys in Orlando area, in the outskirts, definitely check that out. We got Sebone Caribbean Restaurant. Sebone Caribbean Restaurant. Big up to our Metro Market Josh. We got Next Level Up Printing. We got Calypso Clothing LLC. Website is calypsoclothing.com. So shout out to Dwayne. Shout out to Fatih. Make sure you guys support. Carry on wearing one of the shirts. Them.
Yes, she is.
So all of us have appeared on the on the show wearing one. So we definitely support you, Kareem. So I want my 10%. You could give them 5% each or whatever. But I want my 10% for making you some money. You're Fatih. So
Here we go.
This 10%, Mr. Jeez.
shout out to Hungry Hearts Hustle Apparel.com. I wear one of their hats. Them, Hungry Hearts Hustle, also on Instagram. So check it out as well. So who smoke detector keep beeping, man? Please call the fire department and let them know you need your batteries. Give thanks.
Oh,
Big up
jeez.
Dwayne. So
Dwayne out here talking trash.
don't worry. We actually Dwayne is supposed to be coming on in a couple of weeks, so I could really get back at him. islandtimegrill.com. We got Coach Tegan 41 workout videos at Patreon, www.patreon.com, and they have the rest, symbols and letters and numbers that you guys will see when I put it up. We got CaribbeanGirlsRock.com. Follow on Facebook at Caribbean Girls Rock, Instagram at official Caribbean Girls Rock IG. We also got meltedbycroix.com. Follow on Facebook and Instagram, Melted by Croix. I went online and I purchased some the wax. So I'm gonna check. I can't wait to get it and see how it smells. I know it's gonna smell good though, but I'm kind of anticipating that. So definitely, you guys definitely support. Shout out to Janae. They're doing good things. So definitely, you guys, if you guys watch it, definitely support. Support. We got Rico Canario, www.lulu.com, spotlight, /spotlight, /our Canario. This is terrible right now. But you guys check out Rico check out Rico Facebook. His history is crazy. Like, it's unbelievable. Like the knowledge and stuff. So we got Midnight. Hey man, follow on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok at The Real Midnight, Facebook at Real Midnight ENT. Mona Bonds, follow Seat of Refuge, Working Center live stream every Sunday, 10 a.m. Got the Good Life Apparel, AIM Credit Repair LLC. Follow on Facebook at Livewire Sports, C Boogie Talks tomorrow, Thursday, 8 p.m. Make sure you guys go check it out. Shout out to Christopher Henry. He always got dope content, dope dialogue, good, dope conversations. We got the Brand LLC website, www.brandnewhomes.com. We got On The Edge Performance. Follow on YouTube and on Instagram at On The Edge Performance. Also follow on Instagram, Facebook at Dexter_Sinister_exclusive unapologetic. Make sure you guys gotta check that out. I gotta go on his website and check it out too. Or something. We got Apollo Legion, Paris Enterprise, Redwood Service Station, Larisha Star Brown, Stars Eats and Retreat. Stars Eats and Treats. She has a food sale this Friday as well for Good Friday. So if you guys in the Davenport area, outskirts area, make sure you guys check that out. That's near Orlando too as well. Almost kind of close to Tampa in a way too. We got Bobo's promotion. Mentality of a Pro. New York Times bestseller list. I think Tegan is at number 7. I want to say so. Make sure you guys keep supporting. Make sure you guys check out his website, www.kevincoachtshepard.com. Make sure you guys check it out. I'm joking, but it's just
something it into existence. I like it.
But make sure you guys, make sure you guys definitely support. If you guys have kids, definitely support and give it to your kids so they can read it. Honestly. So make sure you guys definitely support. He does a lot of good stuff for the youths. He does a lot for the VI. I mean, you can't say enough of what he does. So definitely go out and support Kevin Shepard. And we have his lovely sister here, who also was a big part of the book. So make sure you guys definitely support. We got Nona Enviro Group, www.environona.com. We got Kenya Eugene. Her website is kenyaheartmusic.com. And we got Senator Genevieve Whitaker. We have her phone number here. Follow her Instagram at Senator Genevieve Whitaker, and also on Twitter at Senator Whitaker. As well, we have her email address, her phone number, and then when I post it up, you guys will see it. So, and last but not least, v.i.legends on YouTube, our YouTube channel. So, make sure you guys check that out. So, nice. We are good.
All right. So we starting the recap from the beginning of the month.
No, I mean, we could kind of start. Is anything you guys want to say before we start or anything?
Nah, not really. Been a good month, Women's History Month has been awesome. Just like living through it, but then being able to hear the stories of all the women that we've had on has just been really amazing. So, good month.
Yeah, just to echo what Karen said, I really appreciated you honoring women this month, even though I think every month is Women's Month, right? You can't say enough about what women do as a whole, but I really do appreciate the podcast honoring the women. You had some awesome women on from the Virgin Islands, repping the Virgin Islands. So, we were very blessed to hear their stories. I can't wait to go into details, you know, and what we really liked about those women. But they were all awesome women, every single one of them. So kudos to the Elite Podcast, you know.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, give thanks. You know, definitely give thanks, man. You know,
Yeah.
it was amazing. It was eye-opening. Some of the individuals, them that was my first time actually speaking to them, meeting them, seeing them face to face, and a podcast or whatever the case may be, even before the show started. So, you know, I really, really appreciate them trusting us. You know, stepping out of their comfort zone. I know some of them. I know, you know, like Jenny, for instance, she posted, you know, she stepped out of her comfort zone. And for her to step out of her comfort zone with someone that she never really met, maybe heard of, but you know, I know she knew Pang, I know she knew Tegan, you know, but you know, stuff like that. It was just cool, and she was really, really outspoken, and she dug deep, and we was on for a while, and you know, stuff like that. You know, I really same thing with Persha, same thing. You know, I really appreciate all the ladies that came on, Lorna, same thing. You know, so it was cool. You know, and it just felt good. You know, honoring the women and stuff like that. And just focusing on who they are, and not they wasn't on because whatever they played in the WNBA or they were a movie actress or they were you know, platinum selling singer. It was just we just honor them, you know, because we heard that hey, they have a good story, and we let them tell their story, and it was just knowing who they are, and we just appreciate who they are and not what achievements they became, you know, not became but what they achieved or whatever. You know, so.
Right. Yeah. What I was impressed with, I actually went back and looked at my own episode on Monday, I think. And I think that's where the idea came up to do something for Women's History Month. And, you know, we talked about it. I'm like, oh, you know, Karen should come on as a co-host, and Angelo and Christine. And then we actually followed through with it. So that was pretty impressive that, you know, an idea that came up during an episode turned into a month-long celebration. So it's pretty cool.
That's true. It did come up in your episode, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We owe somebody 10%.
And what was funny too, though, was Mumba was claiming 10% or something. Oh, when he said when me and Dr. Christine Kelly start our podcast, he need 10% of that because it was his idea. So apparently the 10% thing has been going on for a while.
Yeah, that's true.
Mumba always wants 10% of something. My goodness.
I guess
we're gonna charge for good ideas. 10%. Forget Mumba Rivera. You're Mr. 10%.
Yeah, I could call me 10%, but on the screen it's gonna be Mumba Rivera.
No, change my name, Mr. 10%.
Oh man, I gotta keep this name because we live stream to YouTube. People view YouTube all over the world, and you just never know who is watching.
Very true.
You know? And I think no, go ahead, Karen. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, don't worry, that name gonna become popular enough that they associate it with you, because from now on, that's the name, Mr. 10%. So they're gonna know who we're talking about.
Yeah, they're gonna know. And hey, you just never know who's watching these episodes, right? You just never know. And somebody might be watching somebody's story and they might be intrigued and they might want to help them write a book. Whatever, a lot of stuff will happen, and I think people don't realize the importance of this, you know. And it's just spreading knowledge and opening up the world to the Virgin Islands and the history that we have. So, like, I don't think people realize the importance and the impact it could have, etc. Because I'm thinking way down the line, you know. So that's why
you're thinking way down the line, all right.
No, that's why I'm thinking 10%, you know. And the 10% is going to go back into the community. That's where the 10% going back into the VI.
His community fund, Karen. His community fund.
And the VI, you know. So we taxing them, you know what I'm saying? So Tiga need to start, all them players then that Tiga be trading, he need to start taxing them. So when they make it to the NBA, that 10% going towards the Virgin Islands. So, you know.
Oh my goodness.
If he treats them well enough up front, they'd be willing to give back, you know, at the end. So
yeah, you know, hopefully they'll have that gratitude on their own, to where you don't have to tax them for that 10%. They'll willingly give it up. You know what I mean?
Hope so.
So let's get started. Let's get started.
Okay.
You know, we had our first guest of Women's Month, and this is our quiz. I'm giving our quiz right away. Who we had our first?
Langelo. Like what you don't want to do is come for me because I'm ready.
There you go, Karen. Quick on the draw.
I'm gonna represent.
All right, so before somebody posted something, so I haven't seen it, so I don't know what it is. It would be a pleasure for all those on your panel for the Women's History Month to hold a virtual Women's Empowerment Workshop, career awareness to extend out to the young female students of the Virgin Islands in collaboration with the Department of
Education.
Thank you. Finish it off, man, because I don't tell her I can't read good. So I mean,
practice makes perfect. Go ahead. We don't want to deprive you of the opportunity to improve.
Oh jeez.
That was positive and funny at the same time. Our young women of the VI can really embrace such a networking environment. Man, who said that? That's awesome.
Sheldon, Sheldon Nicholas. He's actually
Nicholas, man. That's dope, man. So hopefully, that's dope. That would be cool for the women to do that. So hopefully, the women could probably reach out to one another, and maybe they could do something.
Or somebody home contact the Department of Education, tell them to reach out to a few of us. Because again, I'm willing to do whatever to help. So tell them to hit me up.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
Yeah,
I'm down.
Department of Education. Yeah, we definitely. If anybody could reach out to them. That's a great idea. Maybe we could make that happen. So I'm gonna definitely do my best. We just had we had the senator. We had two senators now. So VLA and Genevieve, we could probably run it by them. We ain't trying to step on nobody's toes or anything like that, but respectfully, that's a great idea. So we definitely reach out to them. Just because they have been on the show, maybe they could work something out as well too.
Nice.
10% Sheldon, we got it.
Oh my goodness. See, it's the 10%.
Oh God.
I know someone who is one of his former players, financial manager now.
I guess one of Tegan's players, maybe.
Yeah, might be. Yeah.
No, tell him 10% too. Telling everybody 10% according to Mumba.
So we gotta do contact the financial manager and let him know we need 10% for PM, but make the check out to Mumba.
Right.
No, not me.
For these 10%.
Shout out to all the viewers, by the way, man. I appreciate you guys, tapping in with us and stuff like that, man.
Interacting and having jokes with us, because again, it makes it extra fun. Oh, did they? That sounds like it would have been awesome to attend.
Oh, yeah, that'd been dope, yeah. So, Langelo, Desmond Haywood. Who wants to? You guys want me to kick it off, or you guys want to kick it off?
You go ahead.
All right, I figured that was going to be the case. So
I mean, I could do it, but we got several others to do. So you start.
Just pick who you want to start. There you go. Then,
I'm just the one that pays attention, so that's where I'm gonna go.
Wow.
I don't know if that was a shot or not, but okay.
You know what I mean? Hey, you throwing some shade today, man. All right.
So, but honestly, shout out to Carrie and shout out to Kara real quick also for helping out and everything this month. So we had Deslin, Langelo, Des, Haywood on, and when I had when I was like with the whole Women's Month and stuff like that, I was thinking about doing it back in like October or November or something. Somebody said this month is March is Women's Month, so that's when we moved it over to March. And I think I had her first. I wanted to do her first because I think when we first came up with the podcast and stuff like that, and we had like the test run and everything, she came on one time and stuff, and she was in the chat, and I was like, man, I would like to, and I told her I would like to have her on, and then stuff happened, whatever. And then I was like, I'm gonna just have her on first for the Women's Month. I think that would be good just to kick it off and everything. But I always been a big fan of Langelo as as an athlete. I never really get to know her as a person, growing up and stuff like that. We just, a complex, central, compete against each other. You see people around the way, you say hi and stuff like that and everything. But just hearing her story, hearing how, hearing how strict her mom was and everything and stuff. Real quick, I'm gonna interrupt. Shout out to
Oh yeah,
shout
Lorena.
out to Lorena
Yeah,
and
she was out
Lalo.
there doing good work with the team.
Yeah. So definitely we said, big up to Lorena traveling with the team, representing. You know,
Big up to the
she
VI women. They
big up to the VI
represented
women.
number 2. Yep.
Hey,
Yeah, you
Women's
know,
History Month, making history.
There you go.
we definitely love to have Lorena because she does so much.
Mhm.
She's always keeping everybody updated in the VI history and sports and abroad with high school athletes and college athletes, pro athletes and stuff like that. She's always spreading the news. Livewire Sports, we have talked about it many times on the platform. They do so much great things. I call them the VI Sports Center. That's why I call them. I feel like that's where they're.
Nice.
This is my personal opinion.
Facts.
Hopefully, the government could have them have them on the create like a TV channel or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you along the lines like that, where they could really really do some big stuff like a sports center. Fox Sports and then it could create more jobs for the students that works with her and stuff like that, man. I think it'd be dope. They do a lot of good stuff. So hopefully, stuff keep happening for them. But shout out to Lorena. Whenever you're ready to come on, you could just hit us up and let us know. But big up to you, definitely.
Yeah. So back to Langolo. I loved her episode. What I really appreciate, one of the things about the podcast is that we've created kind of like a new family or a new group of friends because everybody that's been on this month, I know a few people before, but didn't know any of them like personally. And I've like gotten a whole bunch of new friends now, and it's really cool. And I'm not antisocial. I'd say I'm selectively social. So I don't make a whole lot of friends, but through the podcast and watching the episodes and then co-hosting, I've been able to make new friends. So it's been pretty cool.
That's
awesome.
what's up.
But yeah, I got to hear Langolo's story. And we again met through the podcast and had been in communication a few times talking about working in sports and stuff like that. But just hearing her story, her journey from going to different schools and then ended up in South Carolina, coming to find out we were a couple minutes apart when I lived there and didn't know. But just seeing how she's progressed through her career was pretty cool to hear. And then knowing that her work spoke so much for itself that she got a promotion that she didn't ask for, didn't know was coming, and is now, fully in athletics. So definitely excited to see where her journey takes her and just really excited for her.
Awesome. Well, I enjoyed her episode as well. I remember meeting Langolo. I want to say is when she played for Central basketball team in high school, and I was on complex team. It wasn't a fun experience, I'll tell you this much, because that squad used to blow us out. I'm not even ashamed to say it. They were that good. They used to blow us out. Okay, we talking 20 points or more sometimes. But Langolo was one of those players that was something to watch. Like she had an awesome game. Like she could play any position on the court. So she was definitely awesome to watch. And just hearing her story, it kind of just brought it all home because I could relate to some of the stuff she was saying, like having strict parents. I remember even my mom used to come up with stuff just so I can't leave the house, but I got smart. Do the chores before you ask to go out, and you ain't gonna have no problem. There's no excuse to keep you in the house. But her
Nice.
story was definitely relatable, and seeing, how far she's come in her career, getting that promotion and everything. It was just awesome to see that. So kudos to you, Langolo.
Yeah, keep doing the thing.
Yep,
Make
keep
us
us in
proud.
the VI.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna finish what I was saying about Lando because I kind of cut mine to big up Lorena and stuff like that. So now you guys touched on some of the stuff I was gonna touch on, and I'll just say like I appreciated Langolo for when she spoke about losing her child, that and it was tough, and I appreciate her just pouring her heart out, and definitely rest in peace to her daughter, and getting to know her after high school and stuff. She's an amazing person, man. She has a kind heart. She's a good person, and we definitely appreciate her. I was supporting, I was coming on, cracking jokes, and doing her thing. So definitely shout out to Langolo. You know, much love, Langolo.
Yeah, hope she's
Yep,
doing all
much
right
love,
today.
much love.
Sure. All right, Janae was next. Her episode was fun as well. For me, I had again known of her. I know her sister Janelle better, but I always heard of her. Our parents were friends, so again, knew of her but didn't know her personally. It was really interesting and amazing to hear all the things she'd done in her career and how instrumental she was in a lot of things that highlighted and featured the Virgin Islands. Pang's new hero, or Shiro, as people says.
Yeah.
But it was really kind of cool to hear the things that she's done, especially as somebody who works in media. I can relate to a lot of the things that she's done and the places that she's been. So it was super awesome to just hear not only her personal story, but her professional story as well. And it was awesomely impressive.
Well said, Karen. Well said.
Yeah, well said. So I didn't know Janae either. Of course we all heard about Lush James and what he's done for the Virgin Islands, but I've never had the opportunity to meet his children. I want to say I interned at Government House when it was him and Turnbull, but I still never met his kids, but I always heard about them. You know what I mean? So it was good to actually put a face to the name and just hearing, how instrumental she's been in highlighting the Virgin Islands in these different shows. Like College Hill, that was major for me. Okay. As I mentioned in my comments, I was in law school at the time when that show came out, and all my classmates knew I was from the Virgin Islands. So every single day I came to classes, like they had an update on College Hill before I could even open my mouth. You know what I mean? So it was good to not have to tell people where the Virgin Islands was located. Now they knew, and now they were interested and things like that. So Janae, you definitely put us on the map with that one. And, it's great to hear all the different things you're doing in your career. So thank you for sharing your story. It was just awesome.
For me, yeah, but that was my first time actually like meeting and talking to Janae. I knew her brother, rest in peace to Luzzy. He was, funny, cool dude. And you guys pretty much touched on everything. What kind of I'll touch on this was the fact that, surprisingly she was like, dealing with the funeral home, and she was witnessing all of that. So that was pretty cool to hear, and she was kind of numb to it eventually. And just her experience going into college and how her dad had already set everything up for her, like, that was kind of funny, so some of that stuff was kind of stood out to me. And you guys touched on what she did for the Virgin Islands, and man, that was major what she did, because she actually she played a role in popularizing the Virgin Islands, and that's major, because a lot of people didn't know where the Virgin Islands was, how it was, the accents, all of that stuff. People might hear stories, but then they actually get to see it on TV. Like, man, the VI is just like up here in the States. They don't, all the different, stuff, that stereotypes they have of the VI. So she really played a major role in, expanding the knowledge of the Virgin Islands for people, man. And it might sound simple, but that's big time. That's big time. So she
definitely,
yeah, it's big time, and we definitely should, commend for that. She's very humble. She's always behind the scenes. She can let a lot of that stuff out, man. So, man, that's dope, man. And shout outs to her and all her, everything, all the achievements she have, accomplished and stuff like that in TV. And just shout out to Janae and keep doing what you're doing. Much love.
Yeah. I'll say hopefully those people in the States now know where the Virgin Islands is located, and that we don't live in huts and all these things. Because I gotta tell you, when I was in college, right, in Virginia, I literally gave a speech in my speech class just to show people where the Virgin Islands is and how we live, because I got so many dumb questions in college. I was sick of it. So I literally had to go that far. I gave a speech on it. Okay. So I'm just hoping that everything Janae has done now put us on the map to where our kids can go off to college and not deal with these stigmatisms. Okay.
Let's hope
So
so.
thank you,
But
Janae. That's what I'm
you
hoping
know,
for.
yeah, yeah. People gonna people, and they don't learn it in school in the States. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's unfortunate, but is what it is.
Yep.
Yep.
Shout out to Janae. Definitely support Melted by Croy. Support Caribbean Girls Rock. All that stuff.
Mhm. Yep. What we got next?
Next, we had Chanel, Aileen. I can't pronounce the line. I think that's how you pronounce it. I apologize, but she already know, like, she don't know how to operate. She don't know how to operate.
She's your neighbor, right? So I'm
that's
sure.
my neighbor, that's my sister, cousin, everything. So
Oh, jeez.
yeah, so that's what we had our next. Carrie, you take the lead on this one.
All right. So Chanel and I met playing softball for the Dandelions. So I already
Nice.
knew who Chanel was. It was good to have somebody on the show where I was like, okay, I know her. Someone I can relate to. She also went to Complex. So shout out to Chanel. It was really good to hear her story. And it was very informational. You know, we touched on the topic of COVID and things like that. So that was really good, to have, especially during this time. So I really appreciated hearing that as well, and just continue being, a registered nurse and helping the people in Orlando. I want to see you come back to the Virgin Islands one day and help improve, our healthcare system. I know you couldn't go into too much detail on that, but that's one of the things that I really want to see is that people who go off and get specialized in, any area come back and really help the Virgin Islands to grow and become better. So looking forward to that, Chanel. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well said. Nice.
So Chanel, I didn't get to come on for Chanel's episode because we had volleyball, and then that's the same day our women's team won the conference tournament. But I did get to meet Chanel in person because she is Christine's niece. And one time, Christine and I were in Orlando for a convention, and we randomly went over to the house and was hanging out. So I did get to meet Chanel and Wayne, and I think their daughter at the time. So I was kind of down that I didn't get to come on, but I was thankful that I did get to watch some of the episode in between games, and the information that she gave on COVID and just the conversation between the viewers and her and the questions that she was able to answer definitely shed some light on, the whole situation. So I was not only impressed, but I was able to learn some things that, questions that I didn't know I had, things that I didn't think of that people asked that made sense, when they asked them. So definitely big up to Chanel and Wayne. And hope they're doing well, and hope she continues to fight the good fight for the medical people that she works with. Oh, Dwayne, stay asking the hard question. He said, does that mean if you're going home to be a lawyer?
You know what? I thought about that, Dwayne, and I was going to do it a few years back, but I have to take the bar in the Virgin Islands, and where I'm at right now, I'm so done with taking tests, So if someone want to bring me on as like an associate attorney or something, I'll be open to that. But until I get to that point where I feel like taking a test all over again, and the bar is brutal, by the way. So when you guys finally hear my story, you'll understand why I'm not like gung ho about coming home right now. But eventually, that is something I want to do as well. Eventually.
Nice.
Yeah, I've heard stories of the bar. So
yeah, no.
Two bars, the bar, and the bar.
I ain't fooling with you. I'm not.
I think I watched too much podcasts, man. I just my mind. That's what it is. Shit, that episode for me was different, and it was cool because we got a chance to hear from someone who's in the health area, however you want to say, the health department, the medical field, all of that, and she have witnessed, some of the tragedies and the pain and the suffering from, individuals and stuff like that because, of her occupation, and just when she was talking about it and explaining it, you could see the pain in her face, you know. So that was kind of, you know, that was touching. You know, she comes from a family of educated, successful, however you want to label it, women. You know, shout out to our mom. I spent a lot of time in the office, in the guidance counselor office. You know,
shout out to Miss Richards, man.
Yeah, shout out to her.
And you know what? Miss Richards never miss a game. When we were playing for the Dandelions, Miss Richards was at every single game. Like, she's very supportive. So shout out to you.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Miss Richards. You know, so she's my neighbor. You know, she have two beautiful girls. You know, one of them is gonna be a tennis legend. You know, shout out to her husband Wayne. You know, and the Nona Enviro group. You know, so definitely you guys check that out. Check out the website once again, www.environona.com. So make sure you guys check that out. You know, but shout out to Chanel, man, sharing her story. Also, too, was thus how difficult it was for her major at school. You know, being in one class and spending like work days. You know, all that stuff was, man. That's I respect that.
I wouldn't have made it. So shout out to Chanel for making it.
And she's also a
way to tough it out.
And she's also a Betu Cookman, you know, graduate Wildcats.
I know you had to mention it.
I was waiting for it. Hail Wildcats. That's the only time I'll ever say it. So there you go. I said it.
I ain't saying it.
So, Chanel, much love, Chanel, much love. What? Who was the coach for the Dandelions?
Coach Jenna Lee.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. I think her last name was Lee.
Yeah, Jenna Lee. That's who it was. I was thinking who it was. I was confused. I thought it was young mother Annie, but no. She was I think she had sugar apples, or I think she might have sugar apples. It was.
I can't remember any of those team names. I just remember Dandelions. That was it. I couldn't tell you who we played and all that.
Oh, we
that was eons ago.
Go to all the fast Saba. Well, my sister played Saba too, but we used to go to all the games then. So we used to go and check them out.
So, okay.
I got a crazy story. I think I'm gonna share this story. This one is crazy.
Let's hear it. Come on, tell it.
Okay, so I was 15 years old and I didn't have my license yet, but I was able to drive. My mother teach me how to drive, and I was driving. And me and Bubbles know this story. It's funny. It's crazy but funny. So we driving, you know, and it's during the summertime. This is just before school about to open. I was going into the 9th grade. Yeah, I was going into the 9th grade. And I'm driving, me and Bubbles driving, you know, I think I cool 50 years old, driving my mother car, wherever, going onto the bar feed, showing up for the girls and stuff like that. And then we went up the road and we ended up playing around again, a serious car accident, man. It was crazy. Yeah. With a judge.
Oh, I remember that story. Yeah, I remember that.
That started at the ball field, how you were trying to show off.
Yeah, I mean, you're 50 years old, are you driving? I think any kid would show off, you know? No, you know, how many 15-year-olds you see driving? You know? Think about it.
You want me to be honest? In St. Croix?
Yeah, I was driving from 11, so, you know.
I don't know. I was on the street all the time. I never seen no driving.
That's good. I mean,
I was not a lawbreaker, so you weren't gonna see me on the street. But that doesn't mean I didn't see other people who had no license who were 15 on the street.
Karen, the same one who wasn't supposed to have boys in the room, the same one who stole the car from a significant other, the same one who was doing 90 and a 25.
Her name was on the car, though. Her name was on the car, too.
I didn't feel what was
right.
Let's use the proper vernacular.
Yeah, I can't agree with the car, but everything else, yes.
I took what was mine. Okay, I took what was mine. Let's be clear.
The vehicle was not in her possession, so technically she stole the vehicle.
No, I did not.
She did 90 in a 20.
45. Right? Stop adding to it.
And that's just some of it. But rule breaker. Okay, Miss Lawyer.
You know what? I ain't
Miss
telling you.
Johnny, Miss Johnny Cochran.
I ain't telling
Right.
you no more of my business, Mumbo. Okay,
I
you
was
can
just
get my
about to
business
say,
all out there. You know.
let me keep my stories to myself. I don't
Okay,
need them coming back out,
but
later
don't throw it
publicly.
back at me, right? Here's the difference, though.
Yeah.
I was licensed.
Oh, jeez.
I
Yeah.
don't know, man. The excuse is killing me tonight, right now. All right. So next one we have Lorna Davila.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Miss Davila was cool. Spent over 30 years in the military. Just hearing her experience, having to command respect from, the people that she worked with in the military was inspiring. Again, it's a male-dominated industry, just like sports. So I could relate to a lot of the stuff that she was talking about. He definitely is, Dwayne.
Mhm.
And
All
knowing,
the titles.
right, just putting everything out there. Um, but hearing Kareem's story and then hearing hers, it kind of brought everything together, knowing that she had such a busy life and she was still able to support him do his athletic endeavors. Hearing about her tours overseas and just her whole military career was pretty awesome. And she was a history maker. She was the first and only Miss Safari, and she
Yep.
played on the first girls basketball team at Arthur Richards. So, hearing about all this women's history during Women's History Month was kind of cool.
Yep,
Good,
I
Kareem.
also enjoyed hearing her story. I didn't know she was a fellow Lady Sons, so shout out to Lorna. She actually got it started. She was the
Yep.
first, so that was really cool to hear. A lot of history there. And just hearing about her story and how she moved up the ranks in the military. And like Karen said, it's a male dominated organization. So for her to be, doing so well and actually helping others as well, because she told a story about the
Right.
people that she's helped to move on and actually move up the ranks. That's impressive as well, because especially in the Virgin Islands, a lot of times we hear that the older people don't want to help promote the younger ones, right? They want to hold on to their position.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's true.
it's very impressive that she didn't have that. So she was very supportive in helping other people to progress in their career. So that was pretty good. And hearing about her son Kareem, that he's a boxer, and just hearing her experience, being there for him as a mom, watching him fight and stuff. I don't think I could have done it, but it was good to hear her story and hear about her sons, and you can tell that she's a very supportive mom, and so I hope they're really appreciative of that they have a very supportive mother who's been there for them, and it was good to hear her story. So thank you, Lorna, for sharing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Man, you guys pretty much, knock it out of the park. Well, I'll say for me, I got different route was her resilience, and then and you guys touched on it, but what she had to go through, but just her resilience and always standing up for herself. I think she definitely represented women of color. And I'm struggling to that, by the way. I'm struggling to that for some reason.
All right, take your
But,
time.
but
Right.
women, the women, she represented women of color. I represented Caribbean women, VI women. She always stood up for herself. She never wasn't gonna let anybody, step on her toes or anything like that or disrespected her. She definitely stood up for herself. Her parents should definitely be proud. We all should definitely be proud of her. She's definitely a role model for women. She represented the military. And definitely shout outs to her. She was part of doing with the vaccination and all that, so she's doing good things. I know she want to start. She talked about helping. Was it people with mental illness or
I think
pharma,
maybe vets, yeah, former
something along
military
those?
service people who are struggling mentally or something. But those people at home, I know she said she was interested in working with.
Yeah, so that's good. You guys know, we all know where her heart is, and I'll definitely like to help. Definitely like to be a part of that eventually when that starts kicking off. So man, it was a great episode. And she just represented the women the right way. So much love, Lorna.
Yeah, she
Oh,
seemed
that's
very
awesome.
much like a traditional Caribbean mom in the way she approached dealing with her cadets, like, or like a grandma. Like you have people, you take care of all of them, and nothing else matters. So that definitely reminded me of our older women in the Caribbean culture.
Yeah,
That's
very
true.
nurturing.
Absolutely.
Next, we had Persia Greg.
Go ahead, Carrie Ann.
I was gonna say, Moomba, you take this one
Oh,
first.
Oh,
You went first.
yourself.
You ain't went first in a while, so
So, that was my first. Well, I seen Persia when I was growing up because I was into sports and she was into sports, but I never really talked to her and stuff like that. And it was my first time meeting her. Shout out to Janae, she made that happen. Shout out to Langolo. She also was like, man, you guys need to get Persia on as well. She has a good story. So, that's so that was my first time meeting her, talking face to face and all that stuff. And man, her episode was powerful, man. That one connected to me more just because what she experienced, I saw my mom experience that, and what her feel is in, I see what my brother experienced and how it changed his life. So, her episode hits different for me, it hits the heart. Um, you know, just her whole experience and how, I know you guys will probably touch on it, but just the experience with New York. I know you guys will probably gain more depth. So I'm gonna save that for you guys. Even the incident when she fell down and she found out she had lupus and how all of that went. Man, it's just the same thing with her resilience because she has a good heart. She's impacting a lot of people's lives because of the field she's in. You know, she talked about being a competitive mom and with her son. So that was kind of funny because we all of us who are parents that has kids that's into sports and us playing sports, that's kind of a thin line to walk across. Is like you kind of want to do it the way you was growing up, but now time has changed and you gotta do it a different way. And even jump back to Janae, how she have it with the parents, where the parents will go up and family members will go up to her kids and kind of criticize or critique instead of she doing it because how kids always think parents know everything, so they don't listen. So then jump back to Persia, with that. So, but shout out to Persia. Definitely shout out, man. It was an amazing, touching episode. I cry on the episode even. So it was dope.
Carrie Ann.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, her story was very touching. Just to hear, that how she found out she had lupus, first of all, and just to see how well she's managing it. She looks great. Honestly, like you
Yeah,
would
it's
Right,
think
fabulous.
you can't look
right.
at Persha and tell that there's anything wrong with Persha at all, and I think that goes to her mentality as well. She's just a woman that perseveres through anything, and she doesn't let it get her down or anything. So, it was really great to hear her story. I know a few people who have lupus as well, and they don't look half as good as Persha, and managing it the way that she's managing it. So that was good to see that that is possible. Like
Right.
having lupus is not the end of your story. You can still push through it and you can still have a career, be a great mom, and um, just persevering. Period. I think that's what I would call her story.
Yeah.
Perseverance for sure. Um,
Right.
yeah, so it was great hearing Persha's story. And as an athlete, I heard about Persha as well, but I never had a chance to put the face to the name. So it was good to finally see who this Persha was that they were always talking about, who was good in basketball and volleyball and whatnot. So it was great to put the face to the name, definitely. So thank you, Persha. Your story was just so authentic, and hearing about September 11th, where you were and witnessing that, I can't even imagine. I remember I was in class. I can't remember which class it was, but we were at Complex and it came over on the TV and we were watching it as it was happening. So it was crazy. So I can't imagine being there live and just seeing that. So, it was really interesting to hear you express your view on it and things like that. So yeah, I enjoyed her episode.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed hers as well. So I know we're not like supposed to pick favorites, but of the people who I had like zero knowledge of before, like her interview was my favorite. there was a connection between us there. So, I could see myself in her and a lot of the things that she dealt with and how she handled things. The most inspiring thing for me was the fact that she's worked the same job for 20 years and still loves it. People our age, people now don't do that anymore. They jump from job to job. I've jumped from job to job. And it's inspiring to hear somebody that loves their job and continue to make a difference and is doing great things in their field. Like you said, Carrie, and I remember where I was on September 11th. I was heading to economics class in college. And one of my classmates, one of the football players was like, yo, they just crashed into the Twin Towers. And we're like, man, Jose, stop playing. You play too much, because he was the jokester of the class. And then it ended up being like serious and, life changed for everybody that day. But I couldn't imagine not only being there and seeing it kind of happen, but being new to the city, not knowing what was going on, and then just like getting caught up in the thick of things and running and not knowing how to get home, how to catch a train. That had to just be an insane experience. So I am glad she made it. I am glad her health is being managed well, and she just has a really, really bright personality and seems like a very nice soul. So shout out to Persha. I enjoyed your episode, and really great to meet you. Have a new friend. Out here collecting friends.
Let me find out Karen sending friend requests on Facebook after the episode.
No. So because I was tagged in the. Actually, I did send some, but because with Persha, she requested me before the episode, so we were actually friends before we, had it. But yes, I've been sending friend requests to people. I'm not ashamed.
You don't need to be ashamed. That's right. We're making connections, right?
Right. Good people.
You know what I mean? Networking is key. So.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah. Much love to Persha. Definitely much love. Great, amazing story.
Yep.
Next, we had Brittany Dawson, spokesperson, West Girl ambassador, for West Girl.
So I enjoyed how just honest and forthcoming she was just about her story. Definitely enjoyed learning more about Anonymous West Girl, hearing about the organization, what they stand for, how they've been, kind of getting out there in the community. But her story was pretty cool. And the fact that her mom was on, kind of, as she was talking about her mom was commenting, was kind of cool as well. But the work that she does is important, and her outlook and perspective on the work is amazing. So, childbirth is a thing that happens, but she creates an experience for those mothers going through it. So her perspective on it just puts a whole new take on it, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I definitely enjoyed her episode. She is definitely the first midwife that I've heard about. I know when I was going through my pregnancy, they talked about midwives and stuff like that, but I really didn't put too much on it because there's nurses in the hospital with you and things like that. But to finally actually see one, like a live midwife in the Virgin Islands at that, that's unheard of. So kudos to Brittany for being the first out there in the Virgin Islands supporting women through that process. It's a much needed area for sure. Being a first-time mom, I know how important it was to have that nurse there to guide you through. So for her to be doing this for the women of the Virgin Islands, that's excellent. And my sister mentioned Brittany is, was one of her former classmates. So I'm like, okay, well, my little sister knows who she is. So that's good. But as far as West Girl, let me say right, West Girl as an organization, it was good to finally hear about them and hear about the things that they're doing in the community. So shout out to West Girl. Continue to give us that history. I know I see the posts pop up like on a daily basis on Facebook where they give us different history of things that happen in the Virgin Islands. That's really good to see, and hearing about the different things they're doing in the community as an organization. That's really cool as well. So continue doing what you guys are doing. Enlighten us, give us more knowledge of our history, because trust me, there's a lot of us who don't know half the stuff that you're sharing. So keep doing it. It's a pleasure hearing your story for sure, Brittany.
Yeah, Brittany episode. I like how she talked about her connection with her dad, and even talked about her mom, coming from Tennessee, and the mentality her mom had was more of embracing the VI culture, not colonizing it, and she learning about the culture. So that was pretty good, and you could tell that Brittany's really really passionate in whatever she does. She's you could tell she's very outspoken. She talked about some personal stuff, and how she approached it. So definitely shout out to Brittany. You guys covered a lot. I'm still trying to think about some more stuff because I know she talked about some more stuff, and just how she became a midwife. Some of the steps on how she went through and how we all became about. She's representing the West Girl real well. They're definitely active on social media. Carrying touched on some of the information West Girl be posting as far as Virgin Islands history and everything, man. Shout outs to the goals they have. They do poetry night, all that stuff. So that's pretty dope. They're empowering a lot of women. Which is important that women do. So much love to Brittany Dawson. Much love to West Girl. We definitely would like to get more of the ambassadors on the show eventually.
That would be good. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Future Dr. Dawson.
That's true.
Say it right, yeah. And
yeah.
doctor with no R on the end.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, hers was a really great interview.
Yeah.
So shout out Karima. Big up Karima. So next we have Kenya. Eugene.
Well, we're running through these things really fast, man.
Yeah, so I didn't get to see more than like maybe a minute of Kenya's interview, so I don't have much to say about it. But I heard good things about it. Somebody hit me up afterwards and was raving about how good it was and how open and vulnerable everybody had gotten. So sounded like it was a great episode.
Oh yeah, Kenya episode was excellent. I had met her at Complex, but I didn't know her personally, so it was really good to hear her story and the things that she has accomplished as well. Being an excellent singer, I always knew she had a voice, right? She won the Apollo, I want to say twice at Complex when Miss Bryson put on the competition. So we all knew Kenya could sing. That's not something new to anybody. I think we all knew Kenya could sing, but to see that she's now a professional singer, I think she has like one or two albums out there already. But her songs are phenomenal as well. I raved about You Are My World. That's still my favorite song. I had to play that over and over and over. I can't sing like her, so I won't do it. But, but whatever, Moomba. If I sing for you, you owe me 10%. How about that?
Mama don't pay 10% to sing on the podcast. We don't do that one.
No, I would be blessing you with my presence, with my beautiful voice. So you would owe me because people gonna want to start watching your show just to hear me sing. Okay. Just to let you know, okay?
People, you hear what you said, right? The people that should pay you then, because that doesn't mean that
your show. You gain viewership because of me. So we need to talk about it 10%, okay? So we're gonna work that off after the show, okay? So, by the way, I will sing, but Kenya definitely has a beautiful voice, very, very talented. She's put on a concert recently in the Virgin Islands. I want to say Beautiful Dreamers was the organization that she worked with to get the concert going, and it was about mental health as well. So it's great to see that there's more focus these days on mental health because it's always been an issue. It's just something that people never really speak about, you know what I mean? But everybody, I'm sure, has experienced someone who's had a mental issue, and it's just something that, no one ever really wants to talk about because it's a touchy subject. So it's really good that they're bringing more awareness now to the community on mental health. And, so shout out to Kenya for that. And some of the shows that she mentioned she was in as an actress, Pang isn't here, but I'd like to know how his research went, right? Because he said he's gonna go back and look at all these shows to see if he sees her and stuff. Like he was definitely starstruck, okay? And you know how Pang gets, right?
Oh,
When
jeez.
Nate was on, you saw how he was. He was similar with Kenya.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
he was just
Wow.
going on and on about all the different shows that she was in. So it was good to hear that. And some of the shows I've actually seen myself. So to hear that she's also an actress and songwriter and model for sure. I always knew she was going to be a model. When you see Kenya, you're like, wow, she's very tall. I think she's like 6'1". When I saw her for the first time, that's what popped into my head. Okay, she gonna be like a model actress somewhere in that industry, you know. So it's really good to see that she has accomplished a lot. And kudos to her husband. You know, I can't forget to mention him. I think she said his name was Samuel. He's also a fellow attorney, so shout out to him. You know, and just how supportive he's been for his wife and helping her advance in her career. You know, that's so awesome. Even her kids, you know, being supportive and joining her on that journey. That's so important to have family support that helps you pursue your dreams. So that family is awesome. Shout out to all of them. And Kenya, continue to pursue your music career. And I can't wait to hear your next album and the next single that you put out. So keep on doing you.
It was good hearing Kenya episode. You know, I've known Kenya since I've been like in first grade or something, probably first or second grade. You know, we pretty much raised near neighboring projects and everything. So it's always good seeing people that you grew up with from, you know, that young and see what they're doing with their life. You know, so it was just good to hear of her sacrifices her husband made for her to achieve her dreams. You know, it was good to hear her touched on, you know, her challenges growing up as a kid with her parents coming from was it Dominica? St.
St.
Lucia?
Lucia. I think St. Lucia.
One of those
I
one of
think
those
St.
islands down one of those down islands and if I'm gonna use you know one of
You
those
better
islands that
use the
TVR
right
around.
pump.
We have had most of our guests that's been on their parents is from you know neighboring islands Antigua, Dominica, St. Lucia, you know all of those Anguilla, so it's like real confusing to remember which one. But you know, you know, for her to talk about that, which was it's been when I was a kid, that was like I mean, it was messed up, you know, what we used to do to those individuals and stuff like that or kids. So it was good to hear her touched on it to see how it really affected her and how she didn't really have anybody to talk to, you know, and she didn't want to go towards her mom with it and stuff. And then she used singing, you know, to help her cope with it, you know. So it was good to hear her talk about that, you know, talk about her sister being a great singer as well too, you know. Cynthia, um, she has one album, KenyaHeartMusic.com. Make sure you guys check that out. You can find her music on all the streaming platforms as well too. Definitely support her. She also has an EP as well too, you know. But definitely big up to Kenya, you know, model. Also, one thing to touch on was that she took a lot of stuff into her own hands as far as her husband being a photographer and saving money and recouping it back into herself, etc. And you know, doing it her way and learning some of the stuff that you know you could spend a lot of money and other people doing it. So she's doing a lot of stuff hands-on with her husband, which is good too. You know, so she's definitely learning a lot. And I mean, she's definitely super talented, super multi-talented, whoever you want to say. You know, so much love to Kenya.
I gotta go back and watch the episode.
Oh, you definitely should. It was awesome.
Next, and the final one for Women's Month we had was Senator Genevieve Whitaker.
So yeah, that one was fun for me. I still don't think we figured it out, but I think we were in St. Joseph together the year she was there. I don't know if she was in my class or if she was a class under me, but we were both there at the same time. And I do really remember her from high school. So to see all the things she's done in between, how passionate she is about representing the Virgin Islands and, you know, fixing the things that need to be fixed, that was super impressive. Future Governor Whitaker, you know, hopefully she will stay on the path to become that. but just hearing the different committees and boards that she serves on and all the legislation that she's already put forth and things that she's working on to kind of fix the education department and housing and sports commission and just all the things that she's involved in. I don't know how she has enough time to do anything but work, how to be a great mother and, you know, have time for herself, but she seems to be doing it. And just really great to hear her story and the struggles that she went through, just in navigating her way through college, all the jobs that she had. One of the things that young people can learn from is that every summer she had a different internship that was in her field or that was of something related to her academic, you know, progress. So, you know, it's fun to have the BS, you know, job just to make some money, but you can also be really proactive and do something that's going to benefit your future. And she definitely did that. So it was really good to hear her academic journey, and all the degrees that she has and just all the stuff that she's done. So really looking forward to the things she'll be able to accomplish for the Virgin Islands because she seems super dedicated and just really into it.
That's very true. I enjoyed her episode as well. You know, another fellow attorney. So shout out to her. You know, it's good to see how far she has advanced in her career. She's now a senator of the Virgin Islands. One highlight for me was when she talked about meeting Obama. I was like, what? You know,
Right.
yeah, she got to meet President Obama. So that was really cool to hear about. You know, and just her journey through her educational career, like you mentioned, Karen, you know, she's another one that's really a perseverer, I would say, if that's a word, but perseverance for sure. You know, she
Right.
definitely demonstrates that. You know, so it was good to hear her story. Um, Also, you know, I know that she mentioned that the history of the Virgin Islands was not being taught in schools anymore. That one was alarming for me. I
Yeah,
I
that's
was very shocked by that because I know we all took VI history throughout our education. Like
right.
we wasn't just learning US history, you know, and I would remember because I don't like history class. I know a lot of people are shocked, right? An attorney that don't like history classes, but I did not like history, you know, but I remember, you know, in conjunction to US history, we always had VI history throughout,
Right.
you know, elementary school, junior high school, and high school. So for that not to be a part of the curriculum, I think is a disservice to the youth of the Virgin Islands.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
for all the senators listening and the governor, y'all got to fix that. Department of Education, you got to fix that. You know, if you don't know your history, you don't know where you're going. So you got to
Right.
know where you came from. So
Yeah.
we definitely need to get that curriculum back for the youth for sure. So that was alarming to me. I couldn't even believe that that's something not being taught at all. So
Yeah,
that
that
one,
was
that one
upsetting.
definitely stood out. Yeah.
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 Like when it was such a great thing and a thing that we all benefited from because we had it growing up and the people in charge had it too because they obviously came before us. So the
Right.
fact that they let it get away, however it happened, is just really, really bad and really heartbreaking.
Exactly. So, you know, I hope Senator Whitaker that you know you get that implemented back into the schools, and I look forward to seeing all the things that you do for the Virgin Islands. So, keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Man, Senator Whitaker is the real deal for sure. Man, hot episode was good. It was, man. I had, man, nothing but respect um for Senator Whitaker, man. It's just like she's just totally driven. Man, that's amazing. It's just it's not the point. You just meet people where they're just totally driven and they got goals, and you just know that they're gonna accomplish whatever they put their mind to it, and that's Senator Whitaker for real. Like you guys touch on everything. Like the plans she have for the Virgin Islands is amazing. I mean, you can't say it enough. You know, her focus is on the kids, the youths, because that's the future. And you know, some of the programs she talked about what we had growing up that she would like to come back, and you know, everything she talked about, man, is just That's what the VI need, and hopefully everybody's on the same page when it comes to that. I admire her. She had to take a long bus rides and walk a while to go to school and from school out in Tampa. You know, which is if you think about it these days, that's kind of crazy. How society is these days. Also, going to college when she was 17, she went at a young age. She's very disciplined. Shout out to her son. Shout out to Senator. Her information is out there. All the viewers, you could definitely contact her, follow her on Twitter, follow her on Instagram. She has her phone number, her email, and then her website is they're working on the website. So once that's finished, we definitely gonna post that out there. But definitely shout out to Senator Whitaker. Like Karen said, she's very extremely busy, and for her to take the time out to really, bless us with her presence was great, man. And I definitely learned a lot. I was like, man, I ain't gonna say that, but
Don't upset the people you know now.
no, it wasn't until I said it was more of me. I was me picking up myself, but I didn't want to say that.
Okay, just check.
So this is what I was gonna say. I was just gonna say that I was surrounded by a bunch of people who could speak such beautiful English, and it was just me who just speaks so terrible English. So that's what I was gonna say. But definitely shout out to Senator Whitaker, man. You definitely have somebody supporting you, and hopefully we definitely can work together in the future. With some of the stuff she has planned together.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, and that's goes, and hopefully I get to work with a lot of the female guests that came on this month, because a lot of the individuals have plans to definitely help the youths and help back home, and hopefully we all can work together. I met a lot of the individuals, and I know that we have a good friendship, just based off of the experience, and I really appreciate that. Some of the even individuals have reached out and said good work. You guys doing great things, and they're definitely supporting us. So I appreciate them really giving us those kind words of encouragement and appreciation as well too. So from me to all the females that came on and all the other females that's doing big things, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. Much love to all. Much love to all. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedule to come out and share your story, sharing some private stuff. Thank you to all the viewers that supported each different female that came on to share their story.
Absolutely. Definitely enjoyed all of them. I do have to go back and watch Kenya's episode because that was the only one I missed. So yeah, great month, great guests, great interviews. Let's do it again sometime.
For sure, Karen. It was definitely an excellent month. And, thank you again, Mumba, for highlighting Women's History Month and having some of the most awesome women on the show. It was great to hear all their stories. Like, all of them were excellent. All of them were good. And they all brought something different, So that was what was great about it. And they were all authentic and genuine. And it's just, you learn so much, when you hear them speak. So it was just excellent. And thank you to the viewers as well. You guys tune in every day. If you're like me, I watch the show every day. I let my family watch it as well. We all watch it together. So this is like our family show, right? So
Nice.
I don't know how you guys do it, but we put it on the big screen and we watch it together, right? So they're watching it right now, okay? Even though I'm home, they're watching it downstairs without me.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to all the viewers, for always tuning in and watching the show and supporting these great women. It was definitely an excellent month. And for sure, Mumba, you got to do this again. There's many more women in the VI that we can definitely highlight and learn a lot from. So I'm looking forward to you doing something more in the future.
No, we definitely gonna do a women's month. I like to do more women's month. Put it that way. Honestly, we're gonna do another one coming up. I gotta see which month is gonna be, but definitely it's gonna be more sooner than later. I really enjoy the concept of Women's Month. And I really appreciated the stories. I think it needs to be more focused on women. I know we started out as a sports podcast, and I think a lot of people had the wrong message as far as the podcast go, because it was just more of us saving our history and for the next generation. And sometimes some way it got twisted where it's about accomplishments, and it's not really about accomplishments. And that's why I don't really talk about my accomplishments. I never post any of my stuff that I accomplished on Facebook as far as my professional accomplishments and awards and stuff like that, because it's not even about that. It's about the person and whatever person you are, what you're planning on doing to inspire the next generation. And just the women's might really open up my eyes to see how passionate these women's are and the plans they have for the Virgin Islands. And I feel as the more people we get on that shares that same concept, like my concept that I share, I feel that we could really definitely benefit the Virgin Islands, and it's just all about action, so that's where the podcast is heading. I mean, we're still gonna have people from sports, but it's gonna just be from our genre, whatever it is. And it's just people who's willing to inspire, who wants to share the story, etc. So and that's where it's at. It really this month really opened up my eyes, and I like honestly like I met these people for the first time, and they showed nothing but love, and that's big time. I'm a person who goes off of the action of the individual. Honestly, I go off of the action of the individual and the action of these how much it was, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These 8 women really opened up my eyes, and I have nothing but appreciation for them. And whatever they got going on, I'm gonna definitely support them 100%, 100%. Because they didn't have to do this, and some of them didn't even know me, and they did it. So I'm definitely tied in with them. So I really wanted to get that out there.
Hey, it's good to see the podcast evolve. And I think it'll continue to evolve into new and better things as time goes on. So just continue to be consistent. And I know, continue to keep letting people tell their stories, and it'll be great.
Yeah. And I appreciate you saying that too, because the podcast is no longer just about sports, right? Maybe initially, it kind of had that feel where it was about sports, but you've really taken it to a whole other level now where it's like anybody could come on and share their story. It's not just about sports and accomplishments, like you said, and I always encourage people to come on because you never know who you could inspire with your story. That's the thing, A lot of times we feel like, well, I'm not as successful as this person or that person, but you never know who's sharing the same struggle that you're having, So any testimony is something that people can learn from. Your story is a testimony to what you're going through and how you've overcome it, and it can help anybody else to overcome. So I want to encourage those people who may feel like, oh, I don't have much to share. My story, I've heard all excuses. My story ain't interesting, or I'm so shy. Like when you come on the show, it's like we feel like family, right? Like it's so
just hanging,
so laid back. It's not even anything to feel uptight about or shy about. It's like we're our family. Even the viewers, like the way they engage you and things like that, you don't feel shy anymore. Once you start talking, all your butterflies just go away. Trust me, because I'm shy. So if I could be on here, anybody could be on here. Trust me, you will get used to it. Once you start talking, all the butterflies come out, and you just get to tell your story and be your authentic self. So I want to encourage those people who want to say I'm shy and I don't think my story is interesting. You could come on the show, share your story. There's somebody out there that needs to hear it. So be open to doing it.
Right. And what was most impressive in terms of people just coming on, I really respected and appreciated the fact that everybody didn't give us a time limit. So they were like, you got me for the night, or I'm here for as long as you need me to be. And they were like, oh, well, maybe just like an hour and a half. I don't want it to be too long. And then, here we are 2.5 hours later. And they were like, oh, I didn't know, so much time had passed. So it's definitely a really comfortable environment. Like Carrie Ann said, we feel like family, feels like home. And I know for me, I don't get to talk to a lot of people who sound like me or look like me. So the fact that I could just get on here and, use my accent and be free and get to learn about people and talk to them in our native tongue is just awesome. So come on the show if you're trying to come on.
Exactly, right? I know sometimes we switch up, like sometimes I'd find and I'll be like, wait, hold on, switch back.
You'd be like, I could use that here.
Like they could understand me. Hold up, I don't need to, like
Yeah,
just
that's
now I
true.
swear I called Pang Pang. I was gonna say Pang instead of Pang, and I was like, wait, hold on.
Oh,
I ain't how you
jeez.
say his name. Yeah, man. So it's
So
cool to be able to use the accent, and
Right. Absolutely.
that's true.
Yep.
So somebody have a question. How did you guys pick the women?
That's your
So
question, Mumba.
Janae was referred from Christine referred Janae, and that stuck in my mind, so I reached out to Janae, and then we made it happen. So and then Chanel, I always was gonna do Chanel just because I know her, and also that the field that she in. So I wanted to get someone in that field as well too. I felt like she could really really touch on what's going on today. You know, Lorna, she was watching her son
Episode.
Kareem Brand episode, and she said she would do it. So I definitely reached out to her, and and we made that happen. Persha was referred, Janae referred Persha. I reached out to Persha, and that's how it happened. Brittany, I I reached out to Westgirl because I like what Westgirl was doing with the whole the history of the Virgin Islands. So I felt like she could have shared a lot of knowledge of Virgin Islands history. So that's how that happened. But then we learned that they don't talk and be seen, and they have ambassadors and representatives who speak. And so that's how she connected me with Brittany, and that's how we got connected with that one. And then Kenya, that one was late because I had a lot of people in mind, and I reached out to some people, and some people canceled, and some people just whatever, and Kenya was late, and I was like, man, I should have reached out to Kenya earlier, and then I reached out to her just because me and her is cool. She sings, she models, she does a lot of good things, so I definitely wanted to get her on. And then Senator Genevieve Whitaker, she was in the chat, and I was like, man, we got to get you on. And I was like, well, that's perfect. Get around for Women's Month, and then we had more people scheduled, but they couldn't make it, and then one cancel saying they couldn't make it. So I just try to get women from different aspects, and of their profession and what they're doing to be on. I just didn't want it to be all women that play sports. No, I wanted to be women that's doing different things to kind of be a role model for kids, to see that, you don't have to be whatever athlete or all the popular stuff that's on television and social media. You can affect and change people's lives and live a happy and good life doing other different stuff. That's also important, so I wanted to really, really touch on that. And I want to, and eventually and continue to do that too, as well. We definitely would love to have women of, that play sports on as well too, but it's just we want to touch all areas. So that's all. Some I knew, some I didn't know. But it's all about reaching out and just inspiring, networking, all that. Good question, man. Oh, her. Sorry. It says Facebook user, so I don't know if it's a girl or a
It's
guy.
Angie Mingo, I think it is.
Angie, big up, Angie. I apologize. I said, man, I blame Facebook being cheap. Facebook being cheap.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So, what's this incident in Miami that
Oh.
happened?
All right, so we get to that incident. And real quick, I just want to give a shout out to Karen. I wanted to give a shout out to Karen. I had Karen scheduled to come on this month, but I changed my mind. I was like, I'll just probably do it for like a milestone episode or more of a special episode, just because she's always willing to help and contribute. She's always supporting, always spreading, sharing, all that stuff. So that's why I was like, you know what, I could get more people on and push her back for another time. I also wanted to get her sister on too. I was like, I could do that another time too. I feel like I could always get them on anytime, so I pushed them back. We had I had Crujan Foodie, Antoinette Gasper, Crujan Foodie was supposed to come on. Unfortunately, scheduling and stuff like that as well too. Liana Bennerson was supposed to come on as well too. She's in the cooking as well too, chef. But she couldn't make it due to scheduling as well too. So I definitely wanted to get that out there. They communicated with me as well. And I appreciate them really answering back and communicating with me and letting me know, and not leaving me hang to dry and stuff like that. So, so hopefully we get them on next, and then, hopefully we have more women on. I definitely would like to get more older women on so they could really educate us about the history of the Virgin Islands, of them growing up and stuff like that. So hopefully that could happen. I really would like that, just because they have more knowledge, of how we used to be growing up, compared to us more our age. A lot of our guests was more our age or a couple years older than us. So hopefully we could make that happen.
And I got a couple recommendations that came in from some viewers about some other people. One is, and I know I'm gonna mess this up, but my bad. She was like the first aviator, major general, just military stuff. She flies planes. She was one of the first women to like fly in the Virgin Islands, and she's not that old, so hopefully we can get her on at some point. I will get her information and try to reach out to her and make that connection.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds totally awesome. There we go. That's probably Shellen. He was the one who recommended her. So yeah, Shellen, reach out to her if you can and let her know what we're trying to do and let us know.
Also, Karen also gave me a name of another young lady that I didn't get on, but she will be coming on, but I didn't get her on. So I wanted to put that out there too as well. So. But,
like we said, women make history every day of the year. So, we'll have people on as time passes. We don't have to wait till Women's History Month. We don't even have to have a whole month again dedicated to women. We just need to consistently add in females here and there as we go. Yeah. So and they're out there. And now that we've had so many awesome ones, hopefully more will come up and more people will recommend other people, and we'll have a constant influx of female guests.
Very well said, Karen.
Sound like Karen and Karen taking over this the Elite podcast.
We should do that one day, right? K and K.
That would be fun. Yeah, come on, let's go. I'd be down. I ain't doing the shout outs though. We have Muman to do the shout outs, and then we put him in the background.
I will take the shout outs. I think I could imitate Mumba very well.
I hear all these jokes. I hear all these jokes going on right now.
Yeah, Mumba. So, hey, any day you want me and Karen to take over, you just let us know.
Be here.
You can take a day off.
I could probably handle the tech stuff. So, we got it.
Yeah, you got the tech and I got the shout out. So we good.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Yes.
I hear these girls, they're making me laugh tonight.
Oh, geez. But it was Langalo who suggested kicking you off. She had commented, I think it was like an episode or two ago, when you were saying that, they said that, I should be kicked off and let the ladies take over. It was Langalo because she commented and said that it was her. So it was Langalo saying that.
Yeah. And you guys cool signing.
Yeah,
we co-sign. There's no show without you, man.
Right, yeah, I ain't trying to get
talking more like giving you a break sometimes, so.
Honestly, this show is not even about me, because honestly, I don't really talk a lot. I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about the guests, that's why I don't really talk that much. I really talk about myself, because it's not really about me, it's about the guests. That's why the podcast has nothing to do with Mumba Rivera, like it's the Elite podcast and all that stuff. It's just something that's coming from my heart. That's why I don't really post stuff. I don't spread the word or anything like that. I just feel like this is coming from my heart, and if everybody has shared the same concept that I share, it's just going to spread. Even the viewers, when they see it, they'll be like, man, you know what they're doing is pretty good. Let me talk to that person, talk to this person, and have them come on the podcast. That's why, I try not it to be about Mumba Rivera. It's just more of the guests, and even the co-hosts them that are coming on is just about we are sacrificing our time, and we doing something from the heart, and that's the most important thing about this podcast. like my goal for Women's Month was for, like we talked about it, like just the females hosting the show. Eventually it didn't happen that way, but that was my goal. It didn't happen. Eventually, hopefully, we see how life goes. Hopefully in the future it happens that one day. But it's just it's more about the people. And I stay here and I listen to everybody's story, and like, man, I'm just captivated. So this is just coming from my heart, honestly. So
I just realized that you didn't miss any episodes because you on for every episode.
Right. Yeah, every single one. So
shout out to
60
you,
something.
man. Wow.
Yeah. Because from my life experiences while on is just the best lessons in life is just listening to someone talk and tell this story, and for that person to sit and express themselves, and knowing that someone there is listening to them and not just listening to react, but listening to listen. That's so important to individuals. So like, I know that I'm again, we have had many guests on, and I'm not knocking any guests or anything like that. I'm just speaking for myself and my concept on how I approach when I'm talking to someone. And is that I really listen to what they have to say, because when I'm listening to them, I'm actually learning, and they're teaching me life. Like everybody that have come out really taught me about life and stuff like that. And I think it's important when someone talk and someone take the time to listen, that makes the person feel good. Because if you really look back on a lot of our episodes, a lot of the individuals said, man, I never really talked about this. And they talked about it on camera, but they never talked about it with anyone, because maybe sometimes nobody don't really take the time to listen to anyone, because everybody likes to, I'm not saying everybody, but most of in these days, everybody wants to react and they wants to be heard. This platform, we really listening to these individuals, and they really express some important stuff that affected them, mental illness, all kind of stuff, and they never talked about it before. And we made them comfortable to come on the show and talk about it. And that speaks volumes about what we're doing. So that's my whole concept and everything. I even promote people that don't even say promote the show, and stuff like that. So that's the show where my heart is at, and everything, so I have no problem with you guys coming on the show, and you guys want to do an episode or anything like that. That's fine. We set it up and we make it happen. And that's fine. That's why I always say, like, man, anybody could come and use the platform and whatever. So I really wanted to get that out there so people could know, so because I'm not always on Facebook. So
we got your back, man. When you want a break, you just let us know. K&K will take over.
Keep saying when you want to have a break. It's not about me having a break. Like
you need a break. You've had what 69? Is it 69 episodes? This is 69.
60s.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this clear. I don't need a break. I enjoy this because I enjoy listening to people's stories. You understand? I'll put it that way. I don't need a break.
Sidelines, Mumba. Okay.
The only person who could tell me I need a break is Miss Avril Viola Christian, and that's my mother's name. The only person who could tell me that.
We're gonna call her.
Shout out to my sister. She spent 10 years in the military in the Air Force. This is Women's Month, so I want to definitely give a shout out to my sister. She sacrifices a lot of time. She left the Air Force because of a heart condition. So much love to my baby sister Ebony Mahalia Rivera. Shout out to her kids.
Yeah,
my nephews. Yeah.
Shout out to the whole fam.
So definitely shout out to your mom, Karen. Rest in peace to your mom. Great lady. I always just see her all the time. Definitely shout out to your mom too as well, Carrie Ann. So definitely want to give a shout out to the
moms. She's watching right now, so she heard you. She said you was her friend. So I already told you, if she sees you somewhere in St. Croix and she hug you, just accept the hug, because according to her, you're her friend.
Oh, geez. I haven't met your mom. I don't think. All these years, I don't think. Yeah, your mom, Carrie Ann. I don't think I know your mom. That's not good, because, like I said, I've known Tegan now for like 20-some years, and the fact that I don't think I know his mom. Yeah, I don't know your mama. Hey, mama, how you doing?
Have you met my dad?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so
which is
we gotta
we gotta fix that. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah. They were always like busy working. They supported us from the sidelines. So not many people know what our mom looks like. Probably my dad more than anything because he's always out there. If you say Cole One, everybody know who Cole One is. They might not know who Melrose Shepherd is, but they know who Cole One is. If you say Cole One, they could point you to him. But my mom, yeah,
Nice.
she's always been behind the scenes, supporting us from the background. But you know,
Gotcha.
she knows who you are. So again, she
That's
hugs
good. Hey,
you,
mama.
hugs you too. Just
Oh, I'm
accept.
a hugger. Yeah, so I hug people. Or before the pandemic, I was a hugger. So, I
I'm
hug
still a
folks.
hugger even with the pandemic. Just wear your mask.
There you go.
All right. So this story, right? This happened in Miami.
Okay.
12-year-old boy. This happened, and this is I'm gonna. It's around maybe 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. time frame. Kid
Okay.
is 12 years old, boy, down in Miami. Left, sneak out his home, put some pillows, prop it up. You see it in the movies to make it look like he's in bed sleeping. Went to a friend house, most likely probably a girl or something like that. I don't know, but that's. So, on his way walking back, this guy kidnaps him, rapes him, shoots him in the face. So after he rapes him, it had a struggle. The kid ended up getting shot in the face. He got shot in the mouth, in the jaw, and the bullet came through his head. So the guy kicked him out of the car, and the kid is like walking. He said he couldn't see because he got shot. So I guess the blood or whatever the case may be, or getting shot in the jaw and the bullet coming through his face. I mean his head might have maybe temporarily blind him or whatever, where he couldn't see. And somehow he's walking, and some old guy out in the streets saw him and took him to the convenience store. And then they had the part of the video where the kid is walking, where they blur out his face, and he kind of collapsed on the ground. And the cops came and they got him, and he's alive and stuff like that. But man, that's a crazy story.
Wow.
Just think about it like crazy.
I don't even know where to begin with that. That's a whole lot. Kids, listen to your parents. Stay in the house.
There's a lot of lessons to learn there. Definitely listen to
Right.
your parents.
Right. Jeez.
But as kids, we often think that our parents
Yeah.
just don't know, they can't relate to what we going through. But you know what's crazy, Mumba? I actually did that as a kid. My parents are watching, so y'all can't punish me, all right? Because I'm an adult. But
Call her up, though.
mine was a little different. So this is what happened. My dad was very, very strict. Like I had a curfew even when I was in college. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like I still have a curfew. I'm a grown woman, right? So I was very calculated as a child, right? So I knew when my dad woke up, when he goes to work, the whole nine. And my little sister, I used to blackmail her, right? She would do some of the dumbest things, and I always had something on her, right? So all week I'm telling. So I would tell her, okay, I going out, right? Turn on the TV in my room to make it seem like I'm in there, right? And just make sure that our father don't come in and find out I'm not there. So she was on the lookout, right? And if anything was gonna go down, dad was gonna come, then I knew I need to get home right away, right? So she was my lookout person. So I'm snitching right now, but forgive me, right? So that's what I did. Now I had a nightgown downstairs, right? So that when I come home, if my father happened to be coming downstairs at the same time, I had my nightgown downstairs so I could put it on and act like I been downstairs the whole time. So I done had everything calculated, everything figured out for when I sneak out. So I actually used to sneak out, and there was one time I calculated a little off. So my dad is usually up at 6. He leaves the house around 6:15 or so. So I figure, okay, if I get home at 6 a.m., right, put on my nightgown, act like I came downstairs to get water, I'm good. But he actually came downstairs. You don't want to see me rushing, trying to shove everything out and make it look like I've been home. He never caught me until now because he heard my story. So, Dad, forgive me. Forgive me.
That's funny. hilarious.
But I did that. But
Jeez.
praise God that I never got hurt, right? I never
Right.
got hurt. I was always very cautious about who I'm with and what I'm doing, right? But kids, listen to your parents
Yeah,
because
man,
it's very
jeez.
true. You never know what could happen, and his parents didn't even know he was gone. He's very fortunate that,
Right.
he's alive
He's
today.
still
He
alive, yeah.
could have been dead, so by
Like,
the grace of God, he was spared, but not everybody has that story. Like, you could have died.
he could have died in any part of the story. He could have died on his way to the friend's house. Some could have happened at the friend's house. He could have died there. Obviously, a whole lot of stuff happened on the way back, and he could have died in each of those incidents. And that's just absolutely insane, man. I'm glad he's alive to tell about it, but as I couldn't imagine what his parents are going through. You think your kid sleeping in the room, and then next thing you know, you're getting a call from the hospital like, "Yo, we got your kid." Like, what? That's so. Shout out to all the parents out there who have kids. 'Cause
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
It's to me it's sad to the fact that an individual would do that to a 12-year-old kid, man. It's just
it's a lot of sick people out
it's
there.
crazy, man. That's so
It's a
sad.
sick world that we live in. I even have a part of my story I'm gonna share later on where
It went in your episode.
I had my own run-in with a pedophile, pretty much.
Oh
So,
man, yes. It's
yep.
sick people
I'm just gonna
everywhere.
say this too: the people closest to you are the ones you have to watch the most.
Oh
Be
yeah,
very careful who you leave your
Very true.
children with, because those are the ones who can more hurt your children and you don't know.
right, right,
So,
because they have
and
access to them.
right, have open communication with your children so they feel comfortable sharing everything with you, even to share that they don't agree with your rules. Like, I negotiated with my dad all the time about curfews, right? So
Lawyer from young.
exactly, from birth. So, have that open communication with your kids so that, even when they don't agree with you, at least they can communicate to you why
Right.
they don't agree, how they're feeling, and, so that things like this don't happen. So, just some advice that I've had my little share with dealing with pedophiles and stuff. So, you guys will learn that later on.
Looking forward to hearing your story.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Hope he makes a full recovery, but he is going to need therapy after this. He's going to need a lot of mental health support because, I mean, again, for all of that to happen in one night, like, that's just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They caught the guy too, by the way. So
Good, throw him
That's
under the
good.
jail
That's good.
and leave him there.
Yep.
so you know what? You guys talked about it earlier with Senator Whitaker when we was recapping hers about they don't teach via history anymore. I want to know, like, what's the future for your island if you don't teach via history? Like, what's the deal? Like,
Yeah, like I said, I don't know how they let that happen, especially because it was done so well when we were growing up. Like, I've said it. I said it on Senator Whitaker's episode. I've said it before. Because I know my history, and because I learned it in school, and because I grew up in a place where most people look like me, I didn't have a lot of these, racial complexes or self-hate complexes because I knew my history and I knew who I was. So that helped me to navigate very confidently in life, in college and afterwards, because again, slavery didn't begin my history. It interrupted my history. So the fact that a lot of Americans, a lot of Black Americans, think their history started with slavery, or at least just acknowledge that, or that's what they're taught, sets them back and helps them not to have an identity. But we had it, and we were very proud and culturally inclined people. So the fact that we do all this cultural stuff at home every year and all the holidays and Christmas, and we wear a madras and we do these dances and we do all this stuff, and they're not teaching the kids the history, it just don't make sense. It's just like stupid. How did we let that get away from us? So I don't know.
Very true. And you kind of touched on this, our history is our identity, right? How do you know who you are if you don't even know where you came from?
Right.
So that's why it was so important for them to teach VI history in schools, because we understood, that our history didn't just happen in Africa and we were made slaves. Like we had a very good understanding and a very good foundation of who we were as people. Like when I came to the United States and I see how African Americans act and things like that, and I let them know, like, no, we didn't experience the same, all the same things that they put in the history books. Like there's more to your history than what they're teaching you in schools.
Right.
So for us to have had that, and for them to understand, even in our islands we had slaves as well. Like all the slaves didn't live in the United States,
Right.
and we had indigenous people as well on our island. So to open their eyes to some of these things, they're like, what word? Like I didn't know. So to hear that our youth is going to be like that, where they don't even know, the indigenous people that inhabited the Virgin Islands, and how the the slave trade and everything interacted with that. So, I mean, there's a lot that's missing there. There's a lot of foundation that's missing there, and it's really gonna mess with their identity, because how do they identify as a Virgin Islander when they don't even know the history of the Virgin Islands?
Right.
So, and you're right, we're doing all these different activities that we have, but they don't know the history behind it. Like they see people doing the quadrille and stuff, but they don't know the history of the quadrille and things like that. Like, come on now. So come on. We have to do better, Virgin Islands. Seriously. How do we not teach our own history in school? You could get rid of US history, but keep Virgin Islands. If I had to pick one, I'd have been like, well, nobody teach US history. They'll learn that when they go off to college anyway. VI history is not taught in the United States.
Right.
So if you have to choose one, then have VI history, because they're gonna learn US history eventually. You can Google that. So yeah, we have to do better.
Honestly, I think that's a serious problem, and it's very disappointing, because in the States you don't learn about VI history, and then in the VI you don't learn about VI history. So basically, our history is getting erased right before our eyes. That's a major problem, and just to see that happen is like, that's ridiculous. That's a major problem, honestly. Like, if you really, really sit down and really meditate and really think on it and have an open mind, that's a problem. You basically, right before our eyes, in this point of time in life, that when you learn about slavery, you basically, your history is getting erased in front of your face, and you by your own people.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Like
crazy. And then
go ahead.
No, I was going to say what's going to happen now. I don't know how long they haven't been teaching it, but it's going to create a gap with those kids who didn't learn it, and then they can't teach it to their kids. So it's going to be a whole bunch of VI people that don't know their history and can't pass it on, and it dies with them. So hopefully they can get it reinstated. But again, the effects will be felt in the future, because if you ain't learn it, you ain't know it, you can't pass it on. Right. So, and then if you don't know it, you won't have an appreciation for the cultural things that we do at home, and be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, they do that, but I don't know about it, so I don't have to do it. And then, it's eventually lost.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're gonna. I don't know what they're gonna think they're Americans. That's what it is, because that's the history they're gonna know. They don't know any other history but American history.
Yeah. So what are they teaching?
And then they come to the United States and they learn the Americans don't believe we're American.
Right.
You know how many times I gotta tell people, it's the U.S. Virgin Islands. Okay, we follow U.S. laws as well, people. So it's gonna be like a rude awakening. Like they're gonna have an identity crisis, because they're thinking, American history is their history. They come to the United States and it's like, no, you're not really truly American. So, we have to fix that for sure.
Yeah, like ASAP.
That's crazy. That is crazy. I had another question I wanted to ask you guys. How you guys feel about women in today's society? How you guys feel about that? Of where women is held at?
Kind of torn, because there are women who are doing amazing things and breaking barriers and being great, like our 8 guests that we had, and people everywhere. But the fact that they still have to fight as hard, or things aren't as easy, I think the statistic is that women make 77 cents on the dollar to men. Like men make $1, women are paid 77 cents for the same amount of work. Our voices still aren't heard like they need to be. We still face, all kinds of stereotypes. Just a whole bunch of issues exist in society still. And it's problematic in general, but problematic for me as a woman navigating life. So I think we're making progress in society, but the fact that we're still fighting for some of the same things we fought for in the 20s and the 50s and the 60s is super annoying.
Very true, Karen. I'm kind of like you. I'm kind of in the middle. On the one hand, women are making some great movements today, for sure. We now have a female vice president. I actually had the honor of meeting Kamala Harris during my internship here in California.
Nice.
So yeah, it was really great to see that Kamala, somebody I know,
Right.
African American woman of color, is now sitting in the White House. You know what I mean? So it's great to see that women are breaking these barriers, right? Positions in this male-dominated world that we couldn't hold before, we now have the opportunity to hold it. But you're right, with the salary disparity, especially in sports, that's the one where it's definitely highlighted. Like for the women's soccer team who does better than the men's soccer team to be paid less is crazy to me.
Insane.
I just don't understand. They're actually successful.
They're better in every way.
They haven't won yet, but they're getting paid more. WNBA, same thing. The men make way more than the women, and it's just crazy. Like there are women in the WNBA that's making barely 100,000 a year, which is crazy. Then you have these men making millions upon millions. And it just shows that disparity. And then you look at the corporate America, women hold the same position as men and they're paid less, but they do the same work. And in some positions, they even do more, but they're still being paid less. It's crazy that we still have this disparity despite how far we've come. And, as speaking as a woman, especially as an attorney, I can tell you, sometimes when I go into the courtroom, the men look at me like, what's she doing here? You know what I mean? Like, you know what arena you're in, especially like my first few years being an attorney. Right. They can sense you're a rookie and they try to intimidate you and things like that. So it's really sad that we're still having to deal with, gender issues and things like that, and trying to be treated equally in our professions when we're doing the same work as men, just as good as the men, but we still have to fight to be treated equally, so it's disheartening, but yeah.
Why you guys think it hasn't really, why do you think it's still like that?
Because the people who can change it don't benefit from it being changed. It takes men to change this problem because it's not a problem that we have with ourselves. It's a problem that men perpetuate. And there's no real benefit for them to change the problem, because it doesn't affect them. I mean, it does in other terms, because if, the women in your society aren't on the same level, then everything isn't as successful, home isn't taken care of, all those other things. But on the surface, there's no real reason or real benefit for them to fix the problem. So if ain't, why they gonna fix it? So until
them, they don't care, huh?
Right, yeah, exactly. And that's when things get fixed, when they affect the people who have the power to make the changes. And if they're not being affected by it, then they don't care. So it'll change when men change it. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think, we're still in this male-dominated society. I mean, Hillary Clinton ran for president against Donald Trump, but
don't get me started on that.
You know what I mean? Like, we knew who the better candidate was, let's be honest. But because she's a woman, you have even women, and we have to point that out. Some women have the feminist thoughts because of how they were raised, that women shouldn't be in certain positions. women shouldn't be paid. As some women hold that view, even though we're talking about women. So, for me, it's not just the men. The women, some of the women also need to change their mentality. And, women, sometimes we keep each other down, right? We don't want to support each other. We treat each other like this is a competition amongst each other. But really, if we were more supportive of each other, I think we could advance even further as well. But you also have that issue where women hold each other down because they don't want to see another woman doing better than them. So you have that issue as well. But it's mostly we're still in a male dominated society. There's people that just hold that view that women are not supposed to be on the same level as men. Women shouldn't be paid the same as men. There are jobs that women hold today that men still think we shouldn't have, right? Like that's a man's job. What are you doing that? So there's still that view as well. So until we find a way to change those viewpoints, those old feminist views, then we can't really advance. It starts with the thinking.
Oh yeah. And back to the Hillary comment. So she was more qualified in every arena, had experience in the White House on 2 different occasions. And women said, oh, well, she just seems so cold. I don't like her. Look, you know her. And she's qualified. And look who we elected and look who we are 4 years later, unfortunately. There's a documentary called Hillary on Hulu. If any of you have a chance to watch it, it's really, really good. It'll help you understand why she came off as cold. And Karen, you probably appreciate it because she has a legal background and, was as a successful lawyer for several years. But again, she was more qualified and America wasn't ready for even a white woman. They weren't ready for a white woman to run stuff. So, we still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, even with Kamala's situation, she was running for president at first, right? Mm-hmm. But she wasn't chosen as the front runner. And if you ask me, no offense to Biden, but if I had to choose between him and her, honestly, when I saw the vice presidential debate between Kamala and Pence, I was like, these are the 2 that should be running. These are the 2 that should be running. It should have been Kamala versus Pence. But again, it goes back to America's not ready to see a woman become president.
No.
Do you think the people who establish racism establish feminism?
So I don't know.
The reason I asked,
I would say, go ahead.
The reason why I asked this question is because where would you look at another human being and judge them what they qualify to do and not do? That's why I asked that question.
Sounds like the racist, right?
If you really think about it, like who am I to say what a woman could do and not do? It's the same mentality and concept of saying like, oh, Black people and you can't be doing this and doing that. It's pretty much the same type of mentality if you really think about it.
I will say this. I think feminism transcends racism because you're going to find it in any race that you're in. So I don't think it's necessarily the people who created slavery or racism that started that thinking. I think that's probably from the beginning of time because men always took this role that, and honestly, in the beginning, women were treated as property. Let's be honest, right? If you had a husband, you were the property of your husband, regardless of whatever race you were, whether you were Black or white or Asian. That's how you were treated. Woman was property. So that's why I say I don't think it started by the people who instituted racism. I think every culture has that view that the woman is just lesser than the man. That's how it all started off,
So I agree, but I think we're confusing our terms. So I think the term that we need to be using is patriarchy, where the men run everything and all that stuff, because the way I understand feminism is that it's a support for women and support for equal rights and all the good things about having women kind of be elevated in society. But patriarchy is the idea that men run things, kind of what you just mentioned, Carrie, and how women were property, men run things, men make more, men do certain jobs, men run society and the economy. And yes, it is global, it's transcended time, it's transcended race and all those different things. And I think I don't know how it started, but it's very much along the lines of, you know, kind of like the same thing as racism. Dwayne, what up?
We're going on, Dwayne.
Hey, Dwayne.
Hey, how you guys doing? Good evening.
Good. How are you?
Good evening, brother.
I wanted to comment because I'll ask him to comment on this part because I think what it is they're starting the brainwash here as to what they're trying to do and trying to move the Virginalis into a different direction. So I think by eliminating the Virgin Island history, they're starting to move us in a different direction into how they want us or the current generation to see what the Virgin Islands is, or they want it to be. For instance, if like I know like us, all of us on the platform, I had you Virgin Island history, and that was taught by Miss Garcia, and she taught us all of this stuff, and then Mr. Edwards started teaching us stuff. Now, if they take away all this Virgin Island history, and it's all erased, by the time our kids get older, there's no U.S. history. So now they adapt the American history. So now they can brainwash and believe that Christopher Columbus and all these different things. So it's a way of starting to brainwash or trying to brainwash the next generation. So when, you know, next 10 years or 20 years, when the Virgin Islands is, you know, prominent, because it, you know, being home here, I could definitely see there's a lot of people migrating here. You know, and there's a lot of people there's people buying stuff in all areas of the island, you know, whether it be, you know, Christiansted, Frederiksted, Mid-Island. Folks are coming here and they're buying stuff. And with them coming here and buying stuff, and they're influencing the leaders to change things around, then they can help continue to keep us suppressed as a people. Because it's like you don't know your history, so then we could keep you suppressed. And then we just come in and we just teach you this American history, and then they're gonna just accept it. And then they're gonna be like, oh, well, that's our history now, you know? And then it takes for us, our generation, to try to help Genevieve and others and tell our children, like, nah, that's not how it was, you know? We have to preserve the history books. And even like the Elite Podcast, being as a platform to be a history book to actually teach these kids about the Virgin Island histories based on our generation. You know, because like Mamba said earlier, he would like to get older guests on because most of the guests are like within 5 to 10 years up or below us, you know? So, but like you said, getting the older folks on there, then with the older folks being on there, they can start sharing the history, and then now the kids can think. And if we could get it, like how you said, get it implemented, that these kids start watching this podcast, then they could start getting the history of our generation and the generation to come, because we're the only one who's gonna do it. You know, we can't depend now. We really realize that we can't depend on the folks that's in leadership to do it, because you're seeing what they're doing. They're eliminating the American, and it took Miss Winokur, because none of us know that till she shared that with us.
Right.
You know, and if she didn't share it, you know, I guess it's something that she wants to be open and put a spotlight on so we could fight for it. So I just wanted to come in and for that little piece, and you know, because I think that's what they're really doing here. And you could see it. You could definitely see the changing in the island, and you know, being here, seeing all the different folks coming in, you know, and trying to, you know, put their influence on the island or the twist on the island.
That's problematic. Like, I get, you know, economic development and, you know, people coming in and stuff, but the leaders need to be strong enough to at least try to preserve our culture, because again, well, money talks, so we understand why it's happening, but it's problematic because, like you said, in a few years, nobody will know what's going on, especially if the kids don't have it now to pass on to their kids. So they need to get it together.
Yeah, and then if you eliminate the books, then there's nothing to go back to.
Right.
You know, and not only that, you have old books. What about the new books to start bringing the current histories? Because, like, I know from certain books, there's always a new edition coming out. You know, because there's always more information to be added to it. So then, who's going to write those books to add the new information in there? So our generations to come can actually have this new information. You know, because then you're gonna have that gap. You're gonna have I think it was like the 1700s, whatever, and then up until 1990. So what happened between 1990 and 2020 or 2030? They're gonna have a big miss, and then these kids gonna be lost. So they're gonna be like, you know what? Where's that? You know, so who's gonna write that gap? Who's gonna fill in that gap to continue to keep that bridge, between the past, the present, and the future? So it's just something that we are seeing and we're being experienced, and it's just our best to just tap in and help Miss Winnica now, and getting what's his name here too, the VLA, because he's an educator. I think he's probably one of the only educators now that's a senator. So hopefully he could get something in his ear. And then we could get people to join in and sign a petition and get the petition rolling, and then you get the signatures, and then go knocking on the doors and be like, hey, we got the petitions, we got everything. Let's see this thing come to fruition.
Yeah, something needs to happen, because if these kids don't get their history, then they're gonna be a lost set of people.
Speaking of facts,
Yeah.
man. Speaking of facts.
But it sounds like that may very well be the goal. We got to figure out.
Right. If that's what they're doing, then that's a problem. If it's intentional.
Right. But why are the people in power not doing more to make sure that our history is preserved, that our identity is preserved? Right. Because they shouldn't allow others to come in and change the dynamic in the Virgin Islands. And that's why I appreciate Brittany Dawson's story. Her mom came and she embraced the culture.
Right.
There are people that move to the Virgin Islands because they like the culture. Well, if we lose our culture, what separates us from everybody else? Right. So those people in power, they got to put their foot down and make sure that doesn't happen. And even people like us, and Dwayne is right, they're buying up our properties and all this stuff now. So, we got to be intentional about making sure that we help to develop our own island. So, we can't just stay in the United States and not have that connection back home. So if we see that that's happening, like Americans are coming in and whoever else, and they're purchasing all the property, they're the ones now inhabiting the Virgin Islands. So of course they want to change things, right? Because they live there now. They want it to be what they're used to. Right. They're coming in, but they're not trying to embrace our culture. They want to change it. They want to Americanize it, so to speak. So, if we're really intentional about it, we need to do something about it as well.
Very true.
That's true.
Yeah, we just finding that, I guess we just rally behind Senator Winnica, rally behind her, and just start getting the word out for our generation, Generation X. I think we're Generation X. So, if our generation could team up with Generation Y, then, hopefully for millennials and the rest to come, that we can definitely, give them something to start building on, and then go from there. But it's interesting to see how, you come in every day and you see all these folks, and even like talking, sitting on the plane and you're hearing some of these folks talk. I made a post the other day on Facebook about that. It's like, it's interesting to hear these folks come on the island or come to visit and then try to talk about the island like they live here. That really bothered me on the plane one day. And I made a post on Facebook about it, and I was like, damn, I should have never said that. But it's just seeing like how these folks really come and they try to tell their other folks that come with them about the island from there, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you know, so it's just some work we got to do, you know? And a lot of work we got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lots of work.
we definitely got to make sure our history is preserved. I remember bringing my husband to visit one time, and I took him over to St. Thomas, and there was a guy there that did this tour, and he had so much knowledge of the Virgin Islands. And I feel like people like that, those people with that type of knowledge, they should be the ones teaching it. In all honesty, like, you know, teachers don't always have to be credentialed. I know that we have those requirements and things like that, but there are a lot of people with history of the Virgin Islands that are not taught in our books. And they used to bring in people like that into the classrooms to share things with the kids and stuff like that. So even though the textbooks are gone, like if you're teaching history, there's always that opportunity, you know, to throw something in there that's not in the curriculum and things like that. Like people who are giving these tours, those are people you could bring into the classroom, teach the kids about the history, the things that are not written in the books, you know. So maybe that's another avenue, is to do more stuff like that, where instead of having it tailored to tourists who come in, tailor it to our youth, because obviously it's not being taught in the classrooms. So they need tours, even a field trip, right? They need tours for themselves to learn now about the VI history, because from what I'm hearing, we have a lot of kids now who don't even know the foundation of the Virgin Islands. They probably couldn't tell you who the first indigenous people were and things like that. So, you know, we have to do what we can to preserve our history for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they're going to take all, you know, they're going to take all of us. I mean, you could see things kind of slowly opening up as more people getting more relaxed, as more people getting the vaccination. Like even here, like not too many, from what I've been here, a lot of people haven't even took the vaccine. And they're, you know, I went to take a COVID test yesterday, and they're like, yo, are you interested in taking a vaccine? There's like, I would have somebody call you. So they're really trying to give the vaccine out here. And, you know, I understand people have their restraints about it, but, you know, we got to like having them other people on the platform and sharing the information about the vaccine. Hopefully, you know, enough people will get it, and then we can get back to some type of thing, and then we go back to the learning of the Virgin Island history or sharing of it. And then, but we still got to have documentation of it, because once the person dies, if it's not documented, then all of that history goes with them.
Right.
You
That's
know,
why
so we got to have some.
That's why you pass it down. That's why you pass it on. You know, history in the beginning was spoken. It wasn't always written. And so we can't place too much emphasis on having a textbook, which is why I mentioned those people who are doing these tours that have all this knowledge. Bring them into the classroom. Let them educate the kids on VI history, because all it takes is word of mouth. Somebody passes it on, then it's in the kids' minds. They'll pass it on to their kids, like we're doing, right? We pass it on to our kids. And that's how history gets preserved. It's not always written, so we don't have to rely too much on textbooks. Yes, textbooks are good, but like you said, somebody got to update that, right? But to speak it and let them hear it, you know, that's enough.
Yeah, because most African and other ancient societies only had oral history tellers, and you know, their history preserved for centuries by passing it down. So, you know, we could do the same thing now. And Carrie Ann made a good point. Like, even if we can't get the people to come to classrooms, take them on field trips. We went on a whole bunch of field trips as kids. We saw things. You know, we've been to all the historical places on the different islands. So let's do that. You know, instead of focusing on this, you know, standardized testing. I don't know if they do that at home, but I know in the States they don't even teach the kids to learn anymore. They teach them to pass tests. So, you know, let's get back into the community and go see, you know, the WIM Museum or the WIM Great House, whatever it's called, and like all the different places on the island, and have those people that tour the tourists, tour the kids.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Okay.
No,
definitely
on that topic.
appreciate it.
definitely appreciate you coming on and sharing that wisdom, man. You dropped some gems, you know.
Yeah, especially.
But Dwayne, you touch on the vaccine. So this is my question. You honestly think if everybody takes the vaccine, we're gonna go back to some normalcy?
No, but in people's minds, it is. Because now, you got people when they take the vaccine, it's like, oh, can I take off my mask now? Like it's all a mental, how to say, mental comfort, I guess, to comfort their mind,
That's
So it's
right.
what student is like, it's like, okay, I got the vaccine now, and that's what it is. It's just training the mind to accept certain things. So when they take the vaccine now, they feel a different type of way. There's people who got COVID and they had their mask on. They really don't know, but in people's mind, it's like, okay, well, I got the vaccine now. According to them, this is what it takes to go back to some type of normalcy. So, China, where I follow a girl who I went to school with, China went back to sort of what they call a new normalcy way before every other country, and that was ground zero. And she said all they did was contact tracing, and they literally shut the country down for about 2 or 3 months, where they just tracked everybody movement. And then people started to take it seriously, and then bam, in no time, they're back to, walking around without masks. And then we're still doing it. So, it's just a comfort for the mind by when people saying, okay, I got the vaccine. So now they're just pushing the vaccine because, there's money to be made off of it. Like Pang and Tiga would always say, follow the money. So once the thing is just going back to that in their mind, we're back to normalcy. And then now when you go in the hospital and you say you got the flu, they're going to be like, nah, you don't have the flu. You got COVID. They'd be like, shit, I thought COVID was over. I'm sorry for cursing. You'd be like, dang, I thought COVID was gone. You know what I'm saying? So it's just for our mental to feel happy in our mind about it. That's all. Am I taking a vaccine? I'm still on the fence about it. I'm still on the fence because I got a lot of people around me who's taking a vaccine. So, but I'm taking Pfizer. I'm definitely not taking Moderna if I do take the vaccine.
You know what's funny what you said. So they went back to normalcy, right? But the virus is still out there. Why they not shutting down? Because when it was over there, everybody was shutting down saying it was going to spread. Now they're back to normalcy, but the virus is still going around. But why they not shutting back down?
Because they got that contact tracing down pat.
Yeah, their science is far more advanced than what we've been using. So they figured out a way to make it to work within the confines of COVID existing. So like Dwayne said, like I watched a video on it, their contact tracing is like insane. And they will know if you've been within, 2 feet of somebody who had it. Now they're tracking you, obviously, to know that, which creates a whole nother conversation. But they did a much better job on a national scale of handling it. We really didn't do anything here in the US. We shut down for a little while. Oh, go ahead.
Well, except for around the White House, because I've read that around the White House, they was doing contact tracing around the White House. And my thing is, if you could do it around the White House, why you can't do it on a nation? All that money that y'all was spending on other stuff, they could have used that money to do the contact tracing. But, the leaders, that's why you see a lot of them leaders. Yeah. But,
well, you gotta,
these folks watching
think
us.
About the United States as a whole. First of all, when you start talking about contact tracing, what information are you giving up? Are you giving up private information in order for them to track you? Because I'll tell you now, I ain't comfortable with that. We had an app here in California where you could enter your medical information, and if you had COVID, somebody's app would light up to tell them you had COVID. So now they just came in contact. So they have this app where they can trace people and all that. But in this society that we live in, who's going to be susceptible to that? There's only a few who would be willing to put their medical information out there. Like if I have COVID, I'm going to do what I need to do, quarantine myself. I don't need the whole world knowing I had COVID and every time I come near somebody, oh, she got COVID. You know what I mean? Like, no. So I don't know that level of tracing would ever be implemented in the United States just because you're giving up medical information, which is confidential and things like that. And we as a society, we want our privacy, right? We don't want that to be in any public arena at all for anybody to really know, right? And to be honest with you, I don't think tracing is the reason why China is still functioning. It's just China wants to function, period. I mean, look at Florida. Every time, they want to put something out, Florida's governor, and I give him kudos, he would literally say, I'm not doing it. I'm not shutting down my economy. I'm not doing it, right? Wear your mask, social distance, and keep moving, right? How many deaths has Florida had compared to everybody else who has all these strict restrictions? You see what I'm saying? Like nobody can pinpoint what's going to make us be able to function with COVID because Florida is an example. They don't do any of it other than wear your mask and supposedly social distance, but yet they're still functioning as a society. We here in California, we're the extremists. We shut down everything, including, churches, restaurants, everything. So only certain people get to operate and things like that, but we still have high numbers. New York is another one. They were very restrictive and they still have high numbers. How do you explain that? You see what I'm saying? And now they're throwing out this vaccine, but to be honest with you, even though you take the vaccine, they're telling you still have to wear your mask, you still have to social distance. So the vaccine is not an end all, right? So you still have to take the same precautions anyway. So I'm like, well, what's the point of vaccine if you still gotta be social distance? You still gotta wear your mask, right? And they tell you it doesn't keep you from getting COVID. You could still catch COVID even if you take the vaccine. So again, the vaccine is not really a true answer. It's like you said, it's giving people a mental confidence, like, okay, well, I took the vaccine, so my body will be able to fight it off. Be honest with yourself. Your body will be able to fight it off if your immune system is good. Because when you go through it, and I've gone through it, they don't give you any medication, They tell you, go home, stay hydrated, quarantine yourself for 14 days. The people that are being hospitalized are the ones with underlying medical issues, right? So they having COVID made whatever underlying issue they had flare up. And so they're having respiratory issues and other issues. Those are the people in the hospital, right? Yeah, there are a few healthy people that they call healthy, but by whose standard, who died? But if your immune system is up to par, you're going to fight it off naturally like any other disease. So for me, I feel like just the media has been telling us how to feel and how to think. And we have to get to that point where we think for ourselves and feel for ourselves and really pay attention to what's going on. Because if it doesn't add up, it doesn't add up. For me, it doesn't add up. You're telling me take the vaccine, but then it doesn't keep you from getting COVID. You can still get it, right? So if you get
from dying though, but it does
how
keep
do
you from
know?
dying.
Because some people died from taking it.
They probably had underlying issues.
You see what I'm saying?
Again,
so
yeah.
It's like, again, there's no real comfort in the vaccine other than the person, right? However you were trained to think, or however your mind works, that's really what you're going to put your comfort in. So if you think, okay, well, if I take the vaccine, I feel comfortable that now my body's going to be able to fight off COVID. So I feel better about being in the public setting and being around crowds and things like that. But there are people who feel the opposite, right? I don't need the vaccine to be in crowds and to be in public. I could social distance, I could still wear my mask and I'll still be fine. So it's really, for me, it's all mental. Because if they had never told us to shut down and do all these extra stuff, we would have been functioning like we normally do. And that's why China is functioning, is because China decided we are done shutting down. We did it for 3 months. We feel we're at a space now where we can trace people and all this stuff. So if it does come up, we know who has it. But they're not doing anything differently as far as the disease is concerned. Now they just have a way to track it. So why can't we still function the same way? You know, doesn't make any sense.
But you gotta remember, they people probably volunteering to be tracked. Well, we are
More
not volunteering
compliant.
to be
Yeah.
tracked.
But that's what I'm
They're
saying.
naturally
Yeah.
more compliant.
Because
What
you
does
know,
tracking do for you? If you know who has it, what does that do for you? All that does is say, okay, well, this person has it, so now we can tell them quarantine for 14 days. But in the United States, we're doing that anyway. The people who have it, they are quarantining. If they know they have it, they quarantine. Same thing. So the only
Yeah.
difference is China has a way to track who has it and tell them what to do. In the United States, if you know you have it, you're gonna do what you're supposed to do.
And then there's the case of the asymptomatic people who don't know they have it, who aren't staying in, aren't wearing their masks. And I think that's where a lot of our problems in the US came from, because again, we're less compliant than other people around the world. So we already don't want to stay home. We already don't want to do what the government's telling us. And if you aren't exhibiting any symptoms, even registering fever, and they're doing temperature checks, and you have these antibodies in your body because you have it, and you're going out and not doing the things you're supposed to do, like wearing your mask and staying inside or whatnot, that's a part of the reason why it spread as much as it did in the US, at least I believe.
I don't know that that's even true, right? Think about it. You could be asymptomatic for any type of disease. Take the flu, for instance. There are people who have the flu, right? They're asymptomatic. They don't show any signs of the flu, and they go around people and they make people sick. But what do you do then? Do you see what I'm saying? Just because someone's asymptomatic and doesn't wear their mask, if you're wearing yours, why did you catch it? If the mask is supposed to help you, how did you catch it? Right? So even though you're not hearing about the asymptomatic people as the ones being in the hospital, these numbers are people who are compliant, right? Because they feel symptoms, they're going to go to the hospital, they're going to get tested and things like that. So again, it just doesn't make any sense whether you're asymptomatic or not. The data just doesn't add up.
But I mean, okay,
At
so
least
for
me, it
instance,
doesn't.
I'm like naturally a germaphobe before all this stuff started. So a lot of this stuff stresses me out because of the way I think. So let's say you're asymptomatic, I'm in the same restaurant that you're in, you touch, you like cough or whatever, rub your eyes, do something, you touch the counter, I come up right behind you a couple seconds later, touch the counter, got my mask on, but I touch my eyes or something, germs right there. I get it, I got my mask on, but because of the way germ transfer goes, like now it's in my system because I touched my face.
But I hate to break it to you, even if you're breathing, whether you're wearing a mask or not, that germ is there. Like COVID is there. Do you see what I'm saying? They still can't tell you. Wait, they still can't tell you how do you even catch the very simple thing. Start with that. How do you even catch COVID? They want to tell you that it's transferred through surfaces, it's transferred through breathing and having your spit exposed and things like this. But let's be honest, there's other diseases that's airborne as well, for peace sakes, right? But we're not scared about that. The flu was killing people for years. Do you know what the numbers were for the flu? I think like 300,000 people die from the flu in the United States alone every year. But the reason we're not tripping over the flu is because they're not publicizing those numbers, right? They took COVID and they ran with it, and they tell us, oh, you can catch it this way, that way, but nobody really knows how you catch COVID. Let's be real. Like, I've been around my family without the mask, and none of us have COVID. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make sense. If it doesn't make sense, I ain't gonna do it.
Fair
I don't.
Sorry, Mumba. We kind of went on a tangent with COVID.
I know.
No, I mean, I don't know what to say about this whole thing. I'll just say this, right? I don't keep, for me, it's very short. I think contact tracing is giving up your freedom as a human. I'll say this, and then when it comes to COVID, it is what it is, man. I'm just that for me. It's just it is what it is. I just feel like everybody believe what they believe. But I just feel like everybody should just mind their own business, be clean, and just respects everybody decision. I just feel like it's getting to a point where the people who don't believe in COVID or don't believe in the vaccine will say something, and then the person who believe in it will say another thing, and then next thing you know, they have a certain view of that person. I just feel like everybody should be able to just think for themselves and just be respectful and just be clean, you know.
That's what it comes down to. Take your precautions, make informed decisions, you know.
Yeah, I mean, whoever wants to take the vaccine could take it, and whoever don't wants to take it don't have to take it. That's how I see it as. You know what I'm saying?
That's how it should be. But you know, there are things that they're implementing now where they're taking it to a whole other level. I think we're getting to a point where if you don't take the vaccine, some of the freedoms you enjoy are going to be taken from you. They have this thing called the travel passport now, where you know, if you didn't take the vaccine, they're gonna know, and you have to be able to show this. They may stop us from traveling. Who knows? You know, if you don't take the vaccine. There's already talks about not allowing you in arenas to view games if you don't take the vaccine. I mean, they're taking it to an extreme now to where they're taking away your choice. And that's where I draw the line. That's not acceptable. People should have the right to choose. Do they want to take it or not take it? Especially when there are just so many unknowns right now. Like, it's not like the flu vaccine that's been around for eons, right? This is something they just put out there. They barely even tested it. Things like that. It's just, don't take away people's choice. Whoever chooses to take it, good for you. And those who don't want to take it, good for them. You know, but to get to that point where now you can't go to some places if you don't take the vaccine, that's where I have a problem.
Well, I'll say this to that, and I'll step back out of the chat and watch. But if you're going to plan on coming home, definitely load up your negative test at least 48 hours before you get on the plane. Give yourself some time, because Friday I did it with 24 hours before I did it, and it came back red because they said my full name wasn't on top of the test result. It just had my first name only. And I'm like, you know, and what I've realized is every place give their test results in a different manner. I've taken it in different places. I've taken it in Vegas, they give it one way. I've taken it in North Carolina, I took it here in St. Croix. Everybody give their negative test results different, and the portal don't know that. So I almost literally missed my flight this Friday because they were saying that my negative test result into the portal didn't show up properly. So it literally kicked me out and gave me a red. And then I had to reapply. And the only reason I reapplied because this white couple, they reapplied and they got an orange. Now, mind you, orange just says that it's pending. It doesn't even say that you actually accepted by the portal. And the reason why I know that is because mine's turned orange. As soon as I put it in the portal, it turned orange, and it was orange long enough for me to get on the plane. From the time I showed it orange to the time I sat in my seat, it turned to red. And that quick, I could have been kicked off the plane if they had known it turned back to red. So I just say, if you plan on coming home, give yourself some time, which is kind of crazy because they want you to give so much time ahead. They want you to give so much time ahead to put in a portal, but in between that time that you put it in a portal and the time you actually go and get on the plane, there's a lot that can happen. And that's why you see the numbers keep spiking up and down here in the Virgin Islands because of that. But yeah, I wanted to talk about Virgin Island history went into COVID. COVID always seems to take over the conversation.
You can't be throwing COVID out there and not expect a reaction. But you're right. We do have that VI travel portal, you know, where you got to upload your test results in order for you to even get on the plane. I know here in Sacramento, when I went home, I had to prove I took the test before they even let me on the plane. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And even if you show them documentation that you took the test to the airport people, they're still going on what the portal says because, quote unquote, the government said you have to pass the portal. No matter if you have a negative, right there, you're showing it to them like, look, this is my negative test. So just give yourself some time to get that stuff straight. And there's no number for you to call to speak to nobody. You will have to email or just wait. So just give yourself some time to
Right.
Yeah, if you want to come home.
I mean, at least the portal's running now. I was
But
home.
all right, good night, and thank you.
Good information.
Thank you everyone for supporting the brand.
Oh yeah,
Thank you everybody, because everybody have definitely worn the brand on top of the show. So I just want to thank everybody, except for Pang and Tegan. I saw Tegan, was it yesterday? Yeah, I think I saw him. No, I didn't saw him yesterday. I saw him Monday. He got on me about not getting him a shirt, but I did purchase a book from him. So it was cool to purchase a book, and I actually got my book autographed. So I'm bragging about that.
Showing up, it's cool.
Tell Tiga go on the website and purchase a shirt the same way how you went on the website and purchased his book.
Tiga feel like he's VIP.
I want to hear it. We support one another. We're not making
exactly.
Excuses. We support one another.
You're right, Mumba.
The same way how Dwayne went on his website and purchased a book is the same way Tiga go on Dwayne website and purchase a shirt.
Exactly.
Each one.
Okay, Mama, you're right. You're right, Mama. You're right.
Yep. Come on.
Each one.
You're right.
And be like, bro, if you're watching, go purchase the shirt.
Get a shirt.
You're right, Mama. You're right.
I purchased my shirt, so he could purchase his shirt.
If you're not gonna go and Foot Locker and ask for them to give you a free Jordans, we shouldn't ask what our brother who tried to make a living for a free shirt.
This Tiga we talking about, he probably.
I don't. Again, you keep. Dwayne, we appreciate you coming
on.
I'm done. Thank you.
All right, good night.
Yeah,
night.
Excuses is not allowed on this. That's one thing we don't allow here.
It's not an excuse.
So.
I'm just telling you. Remember who you're talking about.
Shout out to Tegan. Big up. Shout out Tyro Alec. Big up. I know you said good evening, good night, y'all.
Hey.
Good evening.
So.
No, let me see what somebody just said. My friend was rejected on Monday because he didn't do the portal. Even have his results on him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're serious about that. And you gotta have the code and everything. So
I don't really like to get in this. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't really like to get in discussions with COVID just because everybody has an opinion, and at the end of it, and that's just what it is. Everybody have their own belief of it. And I feel like sometimes it might come across a way where, we might be disingenuous to certain people and stuff like that. A lot of people lost their life to it. Sometimes it might affect them the wrong way, even though you might not mean it in that type of way. But it is what it is.
But I'm saying you can't be afraid to have that conversation because it's a very real conversation. So to anyone, I was not trying to offend anybody with anything that I said. I was just expressing my view. And of course, everybody has an opinion. I don't feel any differently about Karen because I know Karen took the vaccine. That's Karen's choice. People's choices is really the message. It's just, everybody's going to choose for themselves what to believe, what to do regarding COVID, and we just have to respect that,
Yep. Definitely.
This is a topic I wanted to get to, and we could probably talk about it for a few minutes before we come off. I was watching the news the other day, and they was talking about this gender thing with when a baby is born before the age of 4, they don't want you to identify them as a boy or a girl. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but it's funny the way how society is shaping up to be. And again, the same thing with all this stuff going on with COVID and all the election and all the different stuff and the riots and everything. I think that if you just take your time out and just pay attention and see what's going on, it's going towards it's going bad. It's really, really going bad because basically you're losing your. I think it's for some to me it feels like we're losing our freedom slowly but surely. Now you can identify. They want you to not identify a kid before the age of 4 if it's there a boy or girl. I mean, what is what coming to?
Yeah, that's a bit much. I get that there are people who don't traditionally identify. I understand that they exist. I don't understand it because I am not one of them, so I try to be sensitive to it all. But yeah, I don't like the fact that whoever's telling us we can't identify our kids. If let's have the kid, and if the kid is born genetically male and he wants to identify as a she later, we cross that bridge when we get there. But for those first 4 years, let me call my boy a boy. Don't tell me what to do.
There you go. So again, it comes down to people and their choices, right?
Right.
A couple decide when they're having their baby, they don't want the doctors to identify their child as male or female. That's on the parents. Let the parents
Right.
make that choice. Why is the law trying to make these decisions for us, pushing other people's agendas on those who don't hold those views? You know what I mean? Like for me, I'm very spiritual. So for me, if you're born a boy with male genitals, you're a boy. If you're born
Right.
with female genitals, you're a girl. That's how God made you. Whether you embrace that, that's the individual's choice when they get there. We have this generation now where kids are saying, "Oh, I don't think, if it's a boy, I don't feel like a boy. I feel like I'm a girl." More and more they're getting younger and younger in making these decisions. And I don't think you should be making that decision at birth for P6. So I don't. How do you do a gender reveal these days? Then, if that's gonna be the case, you telling me I can't have a gender reveal party because until my child is 4, I won't know my
Right.
child's gender. How do I tell people what clothes to buy? You're gonna buy me all gender neutral clothing?
Right.
Like you shouldn't go that far. You can't tell a parent that is what I'm getting at is that's the
Yeah.
parent's decision. If they choose not to want to identify a gender, then let that be on them. But for those that do want to have that, you can't take away that choice.
Right. Yeah, and I think that that's the key, letting the parents handle it how they want to, because some parents will be totally against that. Like you said, if it's born a girl, it's a girl, and that's what we're gonna roll with. So I think having that be required by whoever, government, law, whatever, I think is just a bit much.
Yeah, and Renice is right. I mean, think about us at 4 years old. Like I
Right.
wasn't
Yeah.
thinking about whether I'm a boy or girl or who I identify as. I even had my tomboy phase, but I never thought I was a boy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I identify how I identify. We didn't think about these gender issues until
Right.
now it's becoming so prevalent that we now have kids who are trying to make that gender decision as kids. It's like you're a child, be a child, go play with a truck, go play with a doll for Pete's sakes. Like you don't have to make that decision right now about what you want to be. As a 4-year-old, I wasn't even thinking about that, like whether I'm a boy or a girl. That our kids have to make these choices is crazy to me. That's
Uh,
ridiculous.
that's why that's what I'm saying. I think what he's saying is what I'm pretty much saying. We're going on a path of having no rights. We're losing our freedom slowly but surely. We're losing our freedom. You know,
We are,
that's what's happening. We're just
whatever
losing.
agenda is being pushed, those who want their freedom of choice are losing it. Those who are on board for things like that, they feel great about it. But
Right.
it's the
Right.
ones that don't share that view, we're the ones losing our choice. You know.
It's, it's like I forget what the movie is, but it's like everybody wants to be God now. That's what it comes down to. Like when it comes
Or
down to,
eliminate God. That's really where we're getting at. Is, everybody's getting to that point where they're forgetting about God, and there's even that view that we're all gods, right? And if that's your view, that's your view. If you feel you're all God, you're a God, that's your view by all means. But don't push your view on someone else. Because if the shoe is on the other foot, they don't like that, right? So let's let's respect people's choices. And you're right. Those who don't share those views of the agendas that are being pushed, they're the ones losing their rights. Because the
Right.
ones that do, they're celebrating.
Yeah, this is where we headed, y'all.
And I think Dwayne Wade had that issue with his son, right? Where his son wants to be a girl, and
Yeah.
so now he's dressing that way and things like that. And for me, I just pray to God I don't have to ever deal with that issue. I can't imagine as a parent having to deal with that issue. So I can't speak on what he's done for his child, but that's their decision. They made that decision together and they're happy with what they're doing. Kudos to them. But if I want to raise my child differently, then let me. That's my choice. Don't impose upon that just because now this is becoming mainstream America.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting concept, and I try to be sensitive to different things, especially if they're things that I don't experience. So I think about it as there are people who are gay who identify as queer or homosexual. So how young do you know? Some people know from really, really young. So maybe he is, transgender. He does feel like a girl. I think there is some validity in hearing him out. I don't know if I would necessarily be the parent who is super cool with it, but I think I would support him in listening to how he feels. But I don't know. It's just an interesting space to be in. Life is definitely changing. Society has become a lot more accepting of everything. Not saying that's good or bad, it's just what it is. So it's definitely an interesting path we're heading down.
We have to be careful with that statement too, because they're saying society is accepting everything, not necessarily, right? Because in accepting some things, they're now trying to change other things. So
Right.
in accepting, for example, homosexuality, LGBTQ or whatever it is, now they're telling people who don't share those views or agree with that lifestyle that you don't have a choice. You have to. Like they're
Right.
teaching it in schools now and things like that. As a parent, how do you deal with that? Where it's like, I'm teaching my child one thing and now they're learning a whole other thing in school that I don't necessarily agree with. So it's like, yes, you want to be accepting of people and their choices, but don't impose those views and those choices on the people that don't. You know what I mean? So it's like in becoming accepting of one thing, they're becoming less accepting of your freedom of choice or your freedom to believe what you want.
Yeah,
So
so I guess a better way to say it
that's
is
a
that society is
trade-off.
accepting new things or different things than, traditionally accepted previously.
Yeah. In with the new, out with the old. Pretty much.
Yeah.
You either
Yeah.
accept the new trend or we're going to take away your choice in choosing to accept the new trend. So,
Yeah.
it goes back to us losing your freedom. It goes back to
yeah,
losing your freedom. You
yeah,
know,
that's true. Your freedom of choice for sure.
so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where we're going to end it at. You know, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Some good conversations. Some dope conversations. So appreciate everybody tuning in for Women's Month, man. I appreciate you guys.
Yes.
It was fun. I really, really appreciate the ladies coming on. Kara and Carrie on supporting as well, filling in, helping out with all that. I appreciate all the viewers always tuning in, asking great questions, you
Mhm.
know, giving positive feedback, all the whole nine. So society is working hard in human rights. So Big up to you, Andre. I always appreciate you supporting. Big up Renice. Big up everybody. Everybody doing. I just seen the names them in the comments, you know, and the ones them that supporting that I also appreciate you guys as well. You know, so everybody make sure you just be safe. You know, be safe.
Yeah.
You know, and just be careful out there. You know.
Absolutely. Everybody take care of yourself. Wash your hands. It's crazy that, you know, one of the ways to fight COVID is washing your hands. It shows the country was doing a trash job. Right. Right. And the fact that, you know, that's a thing and there's PSAs everywhere. But yeah, so wash your hands, be safe. It's good seeing y'all. Mama, Carrie Ann, y'all have a good night. Enjoy the rest of the week.
Yep.
Everybody be good.
Thank you. Same here. Thank you guys for tuning in, for supporting the Elite Podcast. Like when we like to say, and Pang, there's no us without you. So thank you for tuning in. And to all the women, the phenomenal women that came on the show this month, thank you again for sharing your awesome stories. I know I was definitely enlightened and blessed to hear your story. So I know that the viewers were as well. So we really appreciate it. And I hope that everybody else is inspired to come on, share your story. You never know who can be inspired. So don't be shy, you know, and everybody have a blessed week. Karen, Mumba, thanks for having me. Join you guys today. You know, it just worked out. I was off today because of Cesar Chavez. So normally during the week I'm busy, but it worked out perfectly because we finally get to do a show together. It was nice.
There we go. It was awesome.
The dialogue, it was all love. So people, we may go back and forth, but we still love each other, right? It's no animosity here, right? We love each other. So thank you guys for tuning in and have a good night.
Night, y'all.
Good night. Good night.